Click, buy, deliver with the two-time Motorcycle News Dealer of the Year, Colchester Kawasaki, proud sponsors of Chasin the Racin.
Three, two, one, and welcome back to Chasing the Racing, episode 69, my favourite number. And,
Why is that though? Before we introduce, the Irwin brothers here, which I've just given away, let's talk about number 69. First of all, have you ever done it? Second of all, is that why you picked the number? Let's talk through our feelings here, Chris.
My number, Nicky Hayden.
He's done it.
Nicky Hayden was a huge inspiration for us. Really looked up to him, and obviously Whittam as well. So good number. But joined by the Irwin brothers, pretty hot property.
Smoothly dodged there, Chrissy. May I just say, there you go.
School teacher.
Pretty hot property at the moment. Obviously, Glenn leading the championship, and with the massive start to the season for both of you, and some great results. So obviously, I know you'll.
You mean massive as in Andy's accumulated more penalty points than anyone's ever had?
I'm glad someone started this conversation up right.
I know you'll be getting loads of media attention at the moment, so we do really appreciate your time. And obviously, on a race weekend, you've got loads of stuff to do. So thanks for coming and joining us. And first of all, for people listen to this in months and like years ahead. So just to give it to understand where we're at, we're at round 3 at BSB 2020 season, and we've just done free practice at Silverstone. How's it went for you both?
Yeah, it started good. I rolled out this morning with we were testing new brake pads, and I changed my engine braking on the first lap, but I hit my ignition map instead, and different things were coming up in the dash. So I came into the boys and was like, "What map am I meant to be on?" I couldn't remember if it was 0 or 1, and yeah, we got that sort of straight away. Like, there's no difference between the ignition map, just your 2 engine braking. So went back out. And I think the lap record here is a 54.1. So the first lap was a 54.9, and it was turn. And the next lap was a 54.1, and I thought, bloody hell, that came quite nice. So again, it's just testament to the hard work we put in at the beginning of the season.
Just to give context to that as well, the Superbike lap record's a 54.1.
Yeah.
So it's like literally straight out.
That is a short lap. I thought this place was massive. I've never been round here. I've barely come south of the border, so to say.
It can be about 3.5 mile, but I think we're on. I don't know how short the national
1.6.
1.6.
I've just realised where we are, man. County Fermanagh Josh Elliott mopped up here last year with a certain knock-off from a Cams lad. Full of drama, this place. I'm missing a semi. It's getting exciting.
We've already had Glenn on the podcast back in sometime last year. I think it was episode 29 called In the Blood, if you want to. And we kind of talked about how you got into racing. And you, at the time, you just decided to do the TT, so it was kind of all around that. But this is the first time we've had Andy on the show, so welcome to Chasing the Racing. And over the last few podcasts, we've been mentioning you for various reasons. But I was trying to explain the fact that I remember you coming to BSB when we were like 2014-ish, stock 600, and at the time we were like 16, 17 or something, and you'd only recently got into road racing. So first of all, how did you originally get into road racing? What you like?
I'm the youngest of 4 brothers, so there's Ross, who isn't in BSB but rides back home in Ireland, and then we've got Glenn.
Is that on tarmac or motocross?
Tarmac,
right?
Yeah, we all did do motocross to start off with. Ross being the first one to do it, and then I kind of describe it as being like, if your 3 elder brothers are doing football, you'll play football. If they're doing tennis or whatever, you'll do that. You'll just kind of follow in their footsteps. And our dad raced as well, so for me, it was between riding horses and riding motorbikes. I do not know why horses, but my dad loved horses, and I'm guessing he wanted me to be a bloody horse rider or something to take off his love in it. And then that was, I think I got a bike when I was 3, started racing motocross at 6, and then I actually changed to short circuits when I was 13. But I was shocking. Not shocking. I was okay, but then I had like a bad bike, I would say, and I wasn't fast enough. And then I got a Super Twin, and I just kind of started to maybe think, okay, I can do okay. And then I came to England in the middle of 2013 was the first season with Dave Tyson.
So where were you at this point in your own career with him? Because that's interesting, because at the end of the day, you've got an older brother here who's absolutely chomping at the bit at every round he's going to, so you haven't exactly had bad tuition, have you?
No,
you've had hand-me-downs from, quite frankly, an awesome rider, so you've got no excuses to be where you are today, which is fantastic. But where were you at that point helping him? If you know where I'm coming from.
Yeah, at that point, Andy was a 13-year-old kid. I was 18, 17, 18, riding a 125 at home, and so I did half a season in 07, and then 08 was my first year. And I think, Andy, when did you start in 08?
I think it was
wasn't the beginning of the year? Sure,
I actually did the first time I rode in 2008 was just before the Northwest, so May time, because Robert Dunlop was on track, and like whenever I was a young kid, I rode for a company called Crossings at the time, and he rode for them, but I was riding Polini 50s, and he was my absolute hero. And when he passed me on track, I didn't have balls, but everything was like, oh.
Yeah, you literally started like a year after me. I was July 07, and you're basically June, July of 08. So yeah, like I wasn't at a point really to give Andy any advice, and I was a young lad that didn't have a clue. I'd spent my whole career motocrossing, like Andrew and Graham and Ross, and made the switch, and a year later he joined me. He was really, really young and small and tiny, and on like a 1991 Honda 125 with a big square seat unit, whereas I had a more modern bike. So we were fighting for different results, more just because of the age difference and the bike specification. But Andy was really good off the line. I remember at the Sunflower in 2008, and KRP were over, I think, with Robbie Stewart perhaps, and Nicky Coates, and there was a few top British 125 riders, and I was maybe on the second row, and Andy's like ahead of me going into turn one. I'm thinking, oh my word, just seen this big square seat unit, like rocket ship of a start. The bike was so good off the line, and so was he. And I think at turn 3, this is where it all started, with the bumper cars. I think he took PJ Jacobson out, if I'm right.
No,
that was the end of his race.
This wasn't my first take out. Somebody took me out. Jesus. It wasn't until I came to England that I started getting in trouble.
And obviously, when we last spoke to you, Glenn, I think you just went to the Kawasaki team. It was around that sort of time. And
that was great.
You what, sorry?
That was great.
Yeah, and in fact, I think it was
BMW. I think we just switched
just switched to BMW, and obviously it's been very well noted, like in the press and like across your social media and stuff, of what a tough few years you've had, and I think for people that maybe even aren't your fans, I think to see how you've came through such a hard time, and to see you fight back in this start of the season has been like unbelievable. And obviously it's like everything to do with mental health and like the struggles. Did you have obviously you've got lots of mentors and like your dad, and was there anybody in particular that sort of helped you get through that time?
It's real difficult to say, because a lot of things like that, unfortunately, people keep quiet, and I would release now and again when I struggled at times, to my family. I guess they were always there for me, mum, dad, brothers. I was always it was quite honest with you, Andrew, to be fair. I would have told Andrew exactly what I was up to, how I was feeling, what I did wrong this time. And yeah, I think in terms of brothers, I've always been really close to all of them, but in things like more deeper stuff, I was releasing to Andrew. Laura never left my side like throughout all the tough times, because a lot of it was brought not on by me. I was doing things that I didn't deliberately want to do, but I was just doing the wrong things. And she never, like I always say, I screwed up so many times, and never left me. I really made things difficult for us as a family. So I guess my family were right there, but the most important thing was going and seeking professional help. And it's so I think people find it so hard to go, look, I'm struggling mentally, hold your hands up. But honestly, I talk about it nearly daily. I still get like the relative help. I'm not feeling down or anything whatsoever, but I guard against complacency and falling into the old traps. So yeah, really happy to talk about it, happy to share my journey, and it's making this year all the more sweeter.
Without you knowing as well, there'll be so many people that have you on social media and stuff that maybe you're going through the troubles, and it's easy to think that you're the only person. So having a public figure like yourself that people maybe wouldn't expect,
takes a bigger man to say stuff like that, man. Without a doubt,
you'll be helping a lot of people without like indirectly.
We've had some nice messages, and somebody say, if you can admit you're struggling, then do you know what? I've struggled for years, and Glenn, if you can admit it, I can admit it too. I think I need help and all. And what did you do? And you know, we get a lot of inundated with messages, you know, as we all do, you know, for various reasons on social media. And
I know we just get hate mail, to be fair.
Yeah,
so
like-
you lads are obviously getting praise. You know what I mean?
so
I hope you die.
Dom's getting all the eco warriors attacking him for cutting down all the trees. But yeah, look, it's been nice to get lots of positive from that, and I think I have won over a few non-fans, and that's not, we're not deliberately trying to do that. We're just going about our job, and I'm enjoying the sort of the new me as such.
And it's kind of funny as well how it's partnered with the revival with Honda, and obviously when I was growing up, you know, Honda was always the bike to be on. You know, it was the, you know, can you remember when they brought the underseat exhaust out and like H-implant Hondas?
Always remember
both
it's
at
implant.
BSB and on the roads as well. And then for the last few years,
They went shit.
not shit, but they're certainly.
Hey, I'm not factory signed by anyone.
Do you know how you have the bikes to be on? So like say in the Superstock Classic, there was a time where Kawasaki were dominating, and then there was then BMWs were like the benchmark bike and whatever. Honda have really came out fighting this year.
But they took the finger off the pulse, didn't they? That's the best way of putting it. The bikes weren't crap. It was just everyone else, like you say, took a massive step forward, and it just didn't seem Honda's time at that particular point.
And he raced the old bike, and then so you've a good comparison from the old to the new. What, in your opinion, what are the biggest improvements with the new blade?
Do you know, the old bike was always good as well. Do you know, I won races on it, or won our race on it, was on the podium on it last year. So for sure it wasn't a bad bike. To win a British Superbike race with it was good. But for the new one is just a step forward, you know, in absolutely every single way. Its usability is incredible. And
let's go back to numbers. Scale 1 to 10, right? The old Fireblade. 1 being a pile of rubbish. 10 being this is a MotoGP. It's a current KTM MotoGP bike. This is really putting me on the spot, and I'm loving it, right? And then compare it against the new one in numbers.
it's really hard for me to answer that
God, he's good, isn't he?
in a normal way, because for sure, whenever the old bike we had was fully developed, you know, we had the kit swing arms, we had the kit subframes, we had absolutely everything that a Superbike has. Now with the new one, we've standard swing arms, standard subframes. Of course,
this is on the Superbike.
Yeah, this is on the bike. The Glenn leads the championship with is pretty much standard. We have, of course, the forks, the brakes, the Mutec, the engine. We have maybe a small stage, but to compare it to the old bike is really, really difficult.
It's great to see as well on the YouTube the building the blade thing that Honda are doing, and it's one of my friends, Peter's just bought a blade as well, so he's taken a keen interest.
Nice.
And he's quite a big bloke as well, so he's interested. You know, when you were saying about the first time you sat on it and it seemed a little bit squished, so Honda have had the bigger rear sets and the clip-ons and everything. And are you obviously you're leading the championship, so you must be pretty happy with it. But are you feeling really at home on the bike?
Yeah, I really enjoy riding the bike, Chrissy. Today we had some development parts to try from a chassis point of view, and we had a plan to get through them, but as the session went on, we didn't even try them. I said it's not complacency whatsoever. I feel like we're just chipping away in a chassis point of view. The bike's really, really nice feeling on corner entry. For me, it steers from the rear really, really good. So when you have a tire drop off, you can do your turning before you need to be on the fat part of the tire. You can pick it up and you can use a good bit of the tire. So I don't feel like basically to describe where it is, as Andrew said, it's a road bike chassis still, with Superbike forks and brakes. That is, from a chassis point of view, exactly it. Standard link, standard swinging arm. There is very little done to it. It's really, really, really good. But when you think if it's that good without swinging arms, without like the highest spec of engine that we can have, because it's very minor, the first stage of tuning. So the potential of the bike is really, really high, and I think that's something we both said from the first day we both rode the bike. This bike is awesome, but we still didn't expect to be where we both are. Yes, there's a difference in points in the championship, but we're both running at the front of races. And that can change. Maybe next week we mightn't be, but we keep working correct. We're showing the potential of the bike. I think I'm surprised where we are right now, but when you have a bike that feels so good, it just gives you confidence, and this game is all about confidence.
Do you feel the year that you went to the Kawasaki, obviously Kawasaki had just won the championship, and there was bookies and stuff. No, the bookies odds, you were like the favourite to win the championship and all. Where this year you've came in under the radar a little bit, kind of like the underdog going into the championship. I think if you'd asked like all the experts, most of them wouldn't have had you be leading the championship right now. Do you think that underdog status has helped you like get you fired up for the season, like with your training and whatever?
No, I actually don't think it has. You know, I think 17 and 18, 2 great years with PBMs. Well, 17 actually ended up breaking my neck and shoulder, but we were lying 4th in the championship. In 18, we finished 3rd. You know, let's just say right now, Danny Buchan is having a terrible time. Mm-hmm. Look where he was last year. Look where he was the year before.
FP1 at Snetterton.
Do you know what I mean?
Like fastest by
I am not saying Danny Buchan's a bad rider at all. And I think some people, you're as good as your last race in this game, and we get wrote off. Coming in as an underdog, I probably didn't feel... I didn't feel like that, as I don't label really riders as such, as to who the favourite is. We know who might be strong, but the biggest thing was working with Harv and getting a clear direction of... my mentality and the mistakes I've made in the past, and kind of growing up and maturing as a human being. That's made the biggest difference to the racing. Nothing to do with any tag. Just being relaxed, enjoying it. Like, I'm really relaxed when I'm at racing now. I'm relaxed at home and learning from your mistakes, and probably overcoming what I overcame. Combine that with having a really exciting bike, and it's a nice little recipe.
Okay. And do you both train together away back in Northern Ireland?
We used to do absolutely everything together, and then, to be honest, the competition probably got unhealthy a little bit for me. Is what I honestly feel.
Is this training wise?
Yeah, training wise.
Right,
yeah,
not right now. Right. Yeah, good. We're just trying to paint the scene here.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
No.
We've
so
just jammed you in a little box, and you both don't like each other. This is going to go well.
No, do you know, like as Glenn said, during his difficult period, I was always right there for him. I think. He always knows if there's a tough time, I'll be the first person through his door or anything like that, and in that way, we still train 2 days a week with our trainer Ian Young back home, but we don't cycle together, and we probably don't socialise just as much as what we did, but, it's you have to keep it healthy. We're competitors, we're teammates, but we're also brothers, so we have that brother relationship. We've got a friendship that maybe wasn't just as keen as what it was. And we've got a professional relationship as well that together, I think we work quite good as teammates, and we don't bullshit each other is the honest way. We just set it straight, and I think that's helped speed up the development of the bike as well.
It's like Andy says, we did do a lot together, and we didn't fall out whatsoever, at all, but he cycles with different people, not really because we were doing too much, but then by doing less training together, I think we realised this is actually better. From point of view as well, we maybe don't socialise just as much. Like so many people at the minute are asking me, what about Andy? Like with his punishments and obviously the difficult period he's had in the last few races. Like, what do you say to him? And as I say to them, well, the more time you're with someone, the more you will say to that person, because the more you will talk. And I don't want to say to him, because the position I'm in is probably the position Andrew expected to be in, or whatever. There's no number 1 or 2 in this team, and he probably expected to be where I am now, or whatever, or wants to be. So I don't want to be around Andy every day and like giving advice to him, because that can be patronising, because it can be hard to take advice from someone that you see on a complete level. So I've said that, I try not to really, we joke about it a bit, but I try not to say, look, Andy, at the odd time, yes, chin up, but don't want to say that you'll be all right, you can do it, because if someone I believe I'm as good as or better than was saying that to me, it is a bit patronising. So the less time we're with each other, we take that side out of things. That's for Harvey and management to look after.
Yeah. To be fair, my hat goes off to the pair of you, because the one thing you've always got and you'll always have for the rest of your life is the fact that you're family, the pair of you. So every time you want to tear strips out of each other, I bet you think of your mum and dad gone, oh, we can't kill each other right now. And I tell you what, that must be so difficult. Now, like my dad races, but the thing is, I go against my dad, and all I want to do is beat him, even like to the point. But I tell you what, if I saw like me and my old man went down the Quarter Bridge, both on like F1 superbikes, and my dad, I've never seen a late breaker like it in my life, right? He nearly went through the pub window to outbreak us, and I'm going, this is me old man, so heaven forbid growing up with a sibling brother
That's a good point, actually.
That must be hellish.
Have you ever been out with your dad on track?
No, I never have. I don't know if you have.
I seen,
No.
I seen him at Kirkerson. I think you would have been racing the same day as well, Andrew. Do you remember they had a parade lap and Julian Elliott went out and
Which is Josh Elliott's dad.
Josh Elliott's dad? They just had a few legends as such rid at the lunch break, and you know, God love them. They haven't ridden years, and they didn't look like how the legends they were. So Dad's done really well to quit and just get away from it. He doesn't. I don't think he misses it at all. But how can you miss it when he probably has more adrenaline coming here with 3 brothers in the one race? Racing is great for competitiveness, and I love watching it when I feel attached to someone. So Dad's getting the buzz through us. If I came to BSB and I didn't have no friendship or family connection with any rider, I wouldn't the racing. Yes, would be exciting, but I wouldn't get what I could get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas my dad, I'm sure, is probably getting every bit that he used to get out of it by not racing.
Yeah.
Do you ever wanted to race your dad? Come on.
No, I've never even thought of it, to be honest. No.
I tell you what, for people who haven't listened to your interview, we dived quite into your previous and how your dad and everything's got. But quickly go through, what was your dad's history? How did he get to
As fast
his
as
status?
fuck.
That's how you get there.
The most successful Northern Irish road racer.
Road and circuits combined. Yeah,
Combined,
he's
there
the
we
most wins. Yeah.
So, growing up,
British Grand Prix in that race against Barry Sheen. Done the Dutch Grand Prix, Andrew, didn't he? Done
I think
Assen.
French. If he was on the podium, I think in the Europe, not at World Championship, European race until
I bet he
the
was
last
a-
chicane in Aston and crashed in the last lap. I think.
He was rapid. held the lap record at Brands Hatch point for a while.
I bet you've got some trophies in that attic, mate.
Do you know the thing is, my dad's not sentimental whatsoever. So,
he's got 4 sons. That got drilled out of him years ago. Son.
My granny and granddad died around 10 years ago, and they'd kept all of his trophies, and they were lying in our shed, and we're like, Dad, one day we decided to tidy it up, maybe during lockdown,
Yeah, man, Andy.
and I was like, Dad, what do you want to do with these? And he goes, maybe the first trophy I had, and the rest we skipped them. It sounds really bad saying we skipped them, but he had no interest in keeping them, and that was you'd be more sentimental than me, but I don't really keep anything. I keep a helmet and leathers, but trophies I don't care.
See, growing up with a dad like that, did you realise who he was and what he was at that particular point?
I can't remember him racing, so I'm probably slightly different to Glenn because he quit in 98, so I was 3
96.
Right?
or 90,
Yeah.
90 96. So yeah, I
Can
can't.
I ask, was that through injury or did he just went, I've had enough?
I'd had a real serious car accident in October '96, and he was signed to race for Suzuki, I think it
It was
was.
GS motorcycles.
GS
Is
motorcycles.
this, at what level was this?
Again, it would have been your Irish roads, your
Right.
Northwest, some races in England.
Aye.
That it was different then. It wasn't like, did you do BSB? You could be doing racing across the water every week. And
Suzuki
vice
had
versa.
just brought out a new 600 at the
gonna be
time.
a
Yeah,
weapon, I
it was
think.
supposed to be a really
So
good bike.
It
Yeah.
was a big opportunity. To
Yeah,
carry
it was-
on his
he,
career.
He felt like he was at his best. I think he was 39 when he quit, if I'm right. And this sport, age isn't a huge factor, and he was getting more experience. But unfortunately, we were on our way to a motocross race on a Sunday, and I used to travel with my best mate. He lived at the bottom of the lane, and we would follow Dad, which would have Andrew, Graham, Ross, and a tree fell on our car, not on
See,
his.
trees, dangerous.
I know, mate. It killed him and his mum
You're joking.
outright. Yeah. So look, it's one of them things. It was it doesn't bug me, but it's awful. It's something I look back on. There is a lot of sadness, but two people killed. I was the only one that survived, and my dad's seen, like, they lived a couple hundred yards from our house, and he came back on the scene. Andrew and all, they were all there, but kept in the car. So he's seen, our neighbour, my mate, unfortunately dead at the scene, and me with fractured skull. I was really, really ill.
I was going to ask, is that what that
Yeah,
scar
that's
on
the scar. Yeah,
right.
so I
Jesus.
think when you see that and you're racing between the hedges week in, week out, and you have, at the time, he had 4 boys and a wife, you think, what am I doing? Do you know what I mean? And
that
thankfully, it's awful that that's what caused him to quit, but it's nice to see people get in and out of road racing. Just wish it was under very different circumstances.
Yeah, of course. But like we were discussing about your struggles that you've gone through. It takes a bigger man just to admit, look, I'm not doing it.
Aye.
You know what I mean.
Hard to
And
walk away from this
cool.
game, isn't it?
I'd-
In your prime.
I tell you what, not even that, right? Matt, like, I keep going on about my dad, but my dad's 62. The engine seized on him right? You know the Veranda 4, you know Black Hut. Is it not Black Hut? How many times have I been around there and I don't know where I'm going
after
still?
the veranda.
I don't know, before Veranda, you know the left, you know when you got the
before,
wall.
yeah.
Engine C's, chucked him in,
Is that Black Hut or is it
Black Hut?
Yeah, and Graham's Memorial's after the veranda.
Aye, so he came in, engine seized, he went in first, the bike followed him, obliterated his femur, right, and he's just sitting there going, he's ordering engine parts and bike parts and all sorts, he can't wait to get back on a bike. But for me, my fear is getting out of this game.
Aye.
Not having any involvement. So, you know, your dad's lucky that he's got you four to continue that, if you know what I mean. But that is generally my fear.
It's funny you say that's your fear, is getting out of it. My fear is I want to get in, achieve what we're doing in British, and I've still aspirations to go towards Superbike if the right opportunity came along. And we're showing a little bit of glimpse that we can do that. But the TT and things, I have dreams there that I want to achieve, but to be able to achieve them dreams and then going, I'm out, I'm walking away, do you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, I would get the satisfaction of as to achieving what I want and closing the book and getting out alive, as such as grim as that sounds.
No, but
you know,
it's the game we're in.
It's like
isn't it?
James Hillier's kind of always said he wants to win in the
I
end of the chapter.
know, and that's
Right.
like,
And it's
if somebody told me now, look, Glenn, you're going to go and you will achieve what you want, you might win one, but I guarantee that you're out and you live happily ever after, I would go, no problem, bite your arm off.
What about yourself?
For me, I think, I don't know what Chrissy thinks, but as I'm not a road racer, I'm a short circuit rider, so it's a different mentality, I feel, to, you not in a, I don't want to sound negative, but road racing is more dangerous. I think that it's really hard to explain
Obviously,
it, isn't it? I don't know how to say it.
So, carry
So
on. I just want to know where your mindset's
I kind of think that for me, it's about trying to make the best opportunities and trying to be as competitive in whatever I'm doing for as long as possible. And when the time's right to call it a day, but I don't think of the fatality as maybe like the way I'm. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to the TT thinking, "Oh, am I going to come home?" Or I don't get on a plane thinking, "Oh, am
there's
I
anxiety with road racing.
Even if you take the total road racing side of element, the danger side of it, if you take away that side, what are your goals? You know, if you two just stick to shorts, because let's be like you've won Northwests. Have you won in Ulster?
Finished second.
Nearly
We
won
only
in
did it
Ulster.
one side,
You know,
I'll do.
Macau Grand Prix. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? The TT is quite frankly no stranger. You are an extremely established road racer. You know, you've ticked that off the list. So let's just talk about.
Obviously, you were teammates with Forres last year,
Yeah.
and like, a lot of the you were battling for that sixth place, and he beat you as much as you beat him, or
Yeah.
you were very close on track. So to see, a few years ago, Forres was like the best non-factory rider in World Superbikes. on
In
the Ducati.
2018, he was leading in Aragon until he crashed.
Exactly.
Yeah,
He's so on the world scene. So surely, being teammates with him and being so close all season fills you full of confidence with aspirations for World Superbikes.
Yeah, do you know, I haven't hid the fact that I want to go to World Superbikes, but it's my feet are on the ground. I have to do a good enough job here before I can move on. And I think even as you have to go there as the complete, say, British Championship package, and I'm not that yet. I don't, and that's not being negative. It's just I have to clean the edges a little bit. But for sure, the goal is to go to World Superbikes, and that's I think that's realistic as well. It's not unrealistic, and who knows what the future will hold.
I'm talking about your ideal achievement. You're talking about you've got a cap. I can see in your eyes you've got a cap. You know what I mean? You've got an ideal goal. That's where I need to be before I call it a day. I can see that.
I think from a road racing point, I have that as in I want to achieve what I want to achieve at the TT and that close that career.
Yes.
But from a short circuit point of view, I don't have a limit yet, because probably again I can't dream too much until I prove that I'm worthy to move on.
That's what I mean.
I dream of going towards Superbikes,
Right.
and that dream's been reignited. But I want to remain competitive. I feel like I'm 30, but I feel like I'm 20, if you know what I mean. And I want to
like you say, age is
race
not
till I'm 40, 45, something. I just
See,
want to stay strong, keep working.
That's what I mean. It's keeping that. You all of us are on the same page. Of you just never want to lose that edge.
I think
It's
you
like,
do.
that cap, but that competitiveness only comes with a climb.
You do it
Isn't
until
it?
you
You know,
stop
you're
having
like,
fun, I think.
Yeah, and also you've both had a little bit of experience in the sort of World Superbike paddock. I remember watching years ago. I remember watching a race at Portimao with CN Racing, and if you look back at that timesheet, you know, like Franco Morbidelli, there's some like MotoGP
Van der Mark.
riders, Van der Mark, Morbidelli, and you were like front row or something.
Yeah, I
years.
qualified second, and I'd never been to the track, and there'd been a test there 2 weeks prior, and went stuck ahead of Van der Mark. I looked to the right, and Tancade Honda were beside me. Morbidelli was like 12th or 14th or whatever.
It's an awesome track, that might.
Phenomenal track, and that weekend was amazing. And I think, do you know what? I think, without delving back into what we already spoke about, that was probably in around the period where before my troubles started. And then I really feel like thankfully I didn't waste my career, but I certainly sidetracked it. I feel like I delayed it. So now, in the next year or two, I think time will tell if we can recover where I think I could have been, to be truthfully honest. I feel like we should have been in World Superbikes, and we've showed our little glimpse of potential, but that timesheet, you know, like some people always dig one out, like, oh, I was ahead of such and such, and I was like, I beat Morbidelli. It's amazing.
And you did pretty much a good chunk of the World Supersport Championship with was it the PTR Honda. Did you enjoy your time, you know, traveling Europe?
And honestly, I hated it. And that sounds really bad saying I hated it, but
was that more of
the dream sounded awesome. So went to Portimao as a test, and I was quite fast. I wasn't super competitive, but I didn't have a clue then, you know, like about throttle connection or anything. And then when I think back now, that maybe the bike, if we had had it the way I wanted, not the way I was told to ride it, could have been different. And Portimao was okay. Went to Australia, I think 10 laps, and I was pretty not being cocky, but I was quite fast, and then I broke my hand. And
you were flying. You were going really well.
I'd never been there before, and probably that's why I crashed. It was just too fast, too soon, and broke my hand. So I missed Australia. Missed the next day of the test. It was the first morning. So the only time I'd rid the PTR bike was 2 days in Portimao. Went to Thailand and came one from last. I was still hurt. Aragon, I think I started to be inside like the top 20, and then went to Imola. I was inside the points, and at that time people don't understand how competitive that class is until you go to it. It's tough, but I would still say no, I wasn't riding how I did when I was in British Supersport. And I think I was top 10 at Donington, and then that's when I went to PBM to join Glenn.
Aston, you were great.
Oh yeah, I had a decent Aston as well, maybe 11th or something. But
and obviously that we were presented with like the golden opportunity really to join your brother. Yeah. In, at the time, you know, the like taking shakies right. Really.
There is a story about that opportunity, you know, and I'm sure it's fine.
Someone?
Yeah, I held a gun to them and said, "Look, give that ride to my brother." To be truthfully honest, PBM were looking for a younger rider, and you know, I guess it's fine to talk about this now, and it just shows you opportunities like timing. I was always told is so important in anything racing, career, family. Timing is everything. And Andy Reid was offered to ride, and you know, probably a few quid to help cover his costs and whatnot, but got advised not to take it. And that is the God's honest truth, due to the commitments he had, I think, with EHA at the time, concentrate on the stock 1000 type thing. And you know, I don't think I'm speaking out of turn, but horrendous decision. And with that, they were like, who do we get? You know, like
if you think then as well, like you and Andy Reid were, you know, similar in a sort of career point of view. And if you look at how your two careers have diverged from that one decision, it's like unbelievable.
Oh, it was a golden
and
ticket for you
all the time. Yeah.
And do you know what I'm saying about timing and stuff? You can only join the dots going backwards, like looking back on things, how things connected and stuff.
I like that.
Is it true that when you got your ride as well, I'm sure I heard a rumour that Kyle Ride actually got offered that ride, but like Jonathan Reid was his manager at the time, and he advised him to go to World Supersport. Or
I wouldn't be so sure. The thing I got told before Assen in 2015 when I was riding for Geerdink was the PBM ride is between you and Kyle Ride.
Yeah.
I think from there on in, not being arrogant, you know, it's factual. But I beat Kyle in every race from that weekend, and won a couple as well. So when there's a ticket like that, the golden ticket, I wanted it, and thankfully I was able to produce. And I think it was similar for you, Andy. When you come in, you grabbed it straight away and established yourself.
Yeah, that was at Snetterton, wasn't it?
Yeah,
straight away.
That was the beginning.
straight away in practice, though, I remember seeing you like 5th, 6th,
Yeah.
jumping on a superbike, and obviously it's a.
Did you make Q3 your first time?
No, I think I was 10th. I
You
just
so
missed
nearly
out,
did.
but
But an awesome like start into your superbike
Yeah.
career, and from then, especially towards the end of the year, you know, when you at Brands Hatch, when you both were like leading the race 1-2 and stuff,
Yeah.
it's literally a thing of dreams, really.
It
isn't
really. What was your mindset like? This is a question I've been meaning to ask loads of people because we talk quite frequently. Like some of the best superbike riders have come straight from supersport. They've not really gone through the stock class. They've just jumped off half the power straight on the double. What was your really vague question? You could answer this a million times over, but what was your mindset? Yeah, mint. Or was it?
Do you know
Oh shit! This is gonna be mental. You know.
the best thing about it is I didn't even get time to think about it. I was in Brno and on the Friday, Saturday. I knew I was going to PBM, but I hadn't told PTR that I was going to PBM. I actually had rang Simon and was like, Simon, will you let me? And he goes, no. So I booked my flight once I got to Brno.
Just hang up the phone slowly and gone, oh, this is awkward.
But Simon's an awesome guy, and I have a lot of time for him, and we
But you
get on
liked
really,
him.
really good. And so then after the race, we did a debrief, and I said, Simon, can I speak to you? And I says, can I test the BBM bike tomorrow at Knockhill? And he goes, oh, you can't get there. And I says, no, I can. I'm going to Brno Airport in half an hour, flying to Stansted, and Stansted to Edinburgh or Glasgow. And he goes, oh, that's not possible. And I says, yeah, no, it is. And he goes, okay.
I'm not really asking you.
This is me.
So he pretty much said, oh, your decision's made, and fair play to him. He let me do it. I paid.
He had no option.
Yeah. I paid the rest of the money. I was paying for the ride at the time with
Right.
PTR, and I paid the rest of the money that was due to the team, and I only did half of the round. So I honoured my deal with the money ways. I might not have honoured it in the riding way, but I did what I said I was going to do, and got to Edinburgh, I think, about 1 a.m. in the morning, and I was in the hotel with Glenn's crew chief, Ryan Rainey, and he goes, you know, what do you expect tomorrow? I goes, fuck, I haven't even had time to think about it yet. I've been all weekend in Brno. I was just stressed. I was like, how am I going to tell Simon? How am I going to tell Simon? And my dad kept ringing me, have you told Simon yet? I knew, like, so I was there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and it was like, I've got to tell him now. And then, so yeah, we went. But I think like the first test, I was within a second of Glenn at Knockhill.
He was so fucking tired.
I bet
obviously
1 p.m. getting
he
off
had
a flight.
travelled to London to Edinburgh, been racing for 3 days prior in like pretty hot conditions in Brno. Do you remember you had to lie down, didn't you, during the day?
But I was
He was fucked.
do you know when you're
And a second off the pace.
Well,
Yeah, fair enough,
good.
son.
But when you take in so much in one, like in the space of one day, you know, I think you've done it. That you've went to the
Mentally.
Superbike class, and how mentally draining it was, and I had really good people around me. You know, I had Shaky Burns' crew, I had Shaky Burns' bike. You know, it was if you're going to come
Did
into
Shaky ever ring you?
Superbikes,
Did Shaky, you had all his crew. Was it a bit like good
eh,
luck, or
he
I'm
would've-
just wondering how? No, I don't know.
he was injured at the time. I
Yeah,
did
the neck
text him.
went
Shaky was probably still lying absolutely bollocks as he
comatose.
was, you know.
I suppose he would have been.
But once he, got better and was able to come to the track, he'd always have gave some
Mint.
words of
Yeah.
words of wisdom and stuff. But no, it was is it the butterfly effect that people call it? It was one of them things that just worked. And I always say, you know, like if I had stayed in World Supersport to be on a competitive bike, you would have had to pay €200,000, and I just
See,
about
hold
had-
on, no. Is that
why
is that
did they?
actual factual? That is the
Yeah.
money you need to
I
find
think
to
like
go racing.
Antonelli, he's won like the last 7 World Supersport race. He's won every Supersport race this year. Or Locatelli, sorry, not Antonelli. Andrea
Jesus.
Locatelli, isn't it?
Yeah.
And he pays for that ride.
What?
Yeah.
See,
And the
that's
team
the
said
bit-
that, you know,
oh, it's
last
phenomenal.
year when they had Carrickfergus and Krummenacher,
Yeah.
you know, at the end of the year they said, oh, we need a rider that can pay, and this guy's smoking it.
So
Yeah.
he is literally dominating this.
I'd
That
like to
is
think
phenomenal.
his bonuses, he's getting his money back. Like,
Yeah.
unbelievable.
I don't even know why. That's a different conversation for a different time. Getting sponsorship, but he's like one of my next daft questions. Who manages you two then? Do you have separate managers, or is it just a family? You get round the table and gone.
Sort your own deals out. Or...
Because
we're both our own people type thing. I don't have a manager.
You have crew. Yeah, obviously you have crew
As a
chiefs out on the
manager,
track,
as
but
such, we Harvey Beltran, is our team manager, and
Yes.
he has helped manage me and help my situation for sure, and help my outlook in racing and my attitude, and
Yeah.
You know, he has been the biggest influence on a management side that I've ever had in such a short space of time. In terms of doing the deals, negotiating, sponsorship, I do it all myself. Look, if you can talk, you don't need anyone to talk for you. If someone's talking for you, they're going to be getting maybe a cut. It doesn't even come down to the financial side. I enjoy it. I enjoy being friends with my sponsors. I enjoy doing media. I enjoy the whole bit, and it's look, it's not that hard to manage yourself.
Oh no,
really.
it's just it's interesting like that. You know, when you're talking about, I've got this opportunity. Who do you ring? You know what I mean? It's like you're ringing each other, aren't you? It's like a dead.
I rang some sponsors for advice when I was weighing up at the time the Tyco. Well, not Tyco anymore. The BMW.
Mate.
I
I'm
always
part
call
of this
them
show,
Tyco,
and
yeah.
I do the same thing.
Tyco are still getting plugged and they're not even spending the money. They've done it right, haven't they? But I rang three people I trust. Jeremy McWilliams was one.
Well, there's a
I
good
rang
one.
Jonathan Ray, and I rang my sponsor James Jameson, and I kind of went through the contracts as such, you know, that the bits that I could say, and weighed up the options with them three along with my own opinion.
That's some hellish men. No, I've got Terry down at Weatherspoons. if you catch him after 3, he's wrecked. So you know what I mean.
Do you have anyone that sort of speaks to people on your behalf?
Yeah, I do have a little bit, but I do
you think that's...
most of my stuff myself. But I have someone in the background who I trust his opinion, and he's been successful, so kind of keeps me on the right side and on the right side of things.
Go on.
Oh no, sorry. Do you really think at your level? Do you think that's really important for that to have that management kind of? Because is in Rutter's book, isn't it? And his biggest regret was not having management early on. But you've already explained your answer. You know, if you can talk, do it yourself, which is totally fair enough. But do you think it takes that pressure off you, and it's just
I think it's different. I'm not a talker, so Glenn's a talker, can talk his way into getting anything for nothing, or
in and out of trouble. There you go.
No, not in for nothing. He'll get a burger and get the tenner that he would have paid for it back.
I would love to see that.
Whereas I don't talk as much, but I also I think just at times that you need advice, and you know, like Glenn say, like Jeremy McWilliams manages some people. I think he manages Keith Farmer, you know, so he's a friend of both of ours, and Glenn has him to go to. He's friendly with Jonathan and that. Whereas with Cal, I just kind of trust his opinion and what he does, and he's always, for where I've got to now, he's always kind of been in the background to ask.
I think that's the benefit that maybe in terms of management. So Andy has obviously Cal, he's MotoGP rider. If Andy wants to go to World Superbikes, there's someone there that knows probably has all the team owners' numbers in his phone.
Yes,
and he can say, look, there's this kid coming up from BSB.
Having the foot in the
door. For sure, that helps. Definitely having someone like that. But then again, if you're doing the job here, and like that's when you could say to Alexa, Jeremy, look, we're doing a good job. You know, we're winning this championship or whatever. Can you see what doors are open? That's maybe when it is handy to have these people. So I don't have Cal like Andy has all the time, but I guess if it comes to that point, there is people I can come calling on, and Mick Williams is probably who I would ask for the word to sing, and
there we are.
Now, obviously, Glenn's face keeps lighting up every time we go to speak about penalty points or any of the drama from this year. We can't do a podcast without speaking about it. I would just like to start this. Obviously, everyone's got an opinion, and as
what's yours?
I'll come on to it. We've been talking about it, on the show, and I would just like to start with, if we're go back, like say 4 years, and you kind of look at our cohort of riders. So myself, you, people in Stock 600 that Taz, Mason Law, Andy Reid, that sort of era. It's okay, everyone having an opinion, but at the end of the day, out of all of us, you certainly in either doing the best or one of the best at the moment in terms of your riding and where you are in your career. So it's okay for us to have opinions on what you haven't done, but at the end of the day, there's the facts speak for themselves, and you are doing a great job on track. Now, for people will be listening to this that don't really understand penalty points in BSB and stuff, so if there's any sort of incident on track, so if two riders come together or someone knocks someone off, the jury at BSB can basically issue penalty points, and it kind of works a little bit like if you first one you get like 3.6, and then the sanctions ramp up. So after you've got sort of 6, you like stop.
Do you want me to tell you?
Well, that,
You take
6 is the back of the grid.
Yep.
9 is pit lane, and 12 I think you missed a race.
So coming into this season,
Sorry, before you go down that route, can you get banned permanently? No. Obviously within if you shoot someone on track. No, I'm just wondering, like a driving license, you get banned.
No,
I'm being serious.
I don't think there's a final
I'm
sanction.
sure in any sport, I'm sure anyone can get banned. Like, if you.
Oh no, I mean
you have to drive the track the wrong way or something.
I'm not being generally serious
Did
because
Hudson Kenner not get banned from BSB?
Yeah,
off track.
I forgot about him.
Breaching technical rules and
No, I think it was
Facebook.
coming into Knock Hill. He didn't have a pass for his vehicle to get in, so he just left his van and like blocked the entrance, and I think he got kicked out of BSB for that. I think.
So whatever you do, Andrew, don't do that
But
Sunday.
yeah,
I forgot about Hudson Kenny. He's a legend.
He used to get caught cheating and just come the next week and cheat again and get caught and just keep going. It was just crazy.
Let's go back to you coming into
Everyone
this
knows the
season.
name.
So, how many penalty points were you on from last year?
I think I was on 3 or 4.
And presumably that was,
honestly, maybe less.
And I tell you what, let's go.
That was from Alton Park.
Yeah. So let's go from last year. So the first kind of incident that people will remember is of the Scott Redden incident at Cadwell Park. In the past, like certainly with my riding, although I've never had any penalty points on my BSB license, there's definitely mistakes that I've made that I've. A good example was at Cadwell Park when I was in BSB. I lined Martin Jessup up for a pass into the hairpin.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing it.
I remember.
Obviously, you commit. You commit to it early, and as we got to the corner, I'd sort of envisaged going up the inside. He closed the door, and I just wiped him clean out. It was a total mistake. No intentions of knocking him off, but. Obviously, like I apologise.
Probably the worst person you could have done that to.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm actually glad.
He's a handy lad.
I'm actually glad that I crashed later on in the race and got taken off the hospital, so I didn't have to deal with it. But people make mistakes in this game, and especially at high speed when you're passing somebody. You've kind of got to commit to a pass when you hit the brakes, and then sometimes it's kind of you get to the apex and things can change and whatever. There's rider error. You came straight out after the Cadwell Park incident, and I think it was one of those hands up. Really sorry. And how go on, talk us through.
Yeah, the one that at Cadwell 110% was my fault. I outbraked myself and I took Scott out. There's no other way to describe it. That happened, and it was a genuine mistake. I didn't mean to do it. I would never mean to do it, and that's probably the one that I'm most pissed off. If I think back, about things that I've done in racing, the one that pisses me off the most for sure.
Now, coming into this year, there's been a couple of incidents. Some that certainly weren't your fault, some that you could say were your fault. The first one, Josh Brooks, obviously, the problem is on a TV...
Which one would you say was Andrew's fault, just out of curiosity?
The Vickers one for me.
No chance.
Well, we'll get on to it. But going on to the Josh Brooks incident, straight after the race, you're full of adrenaline. You get a Eurosport mic. You cannot really open up and talk about it and give a fair side. You've kind of just got to give us an answer straight away. So this is a good opportunity, to like sort of maybe give both sides and like sort of look at it. Brooks one for you. Talk us through it.
Honestly, the Brooks one for me still now. Okay, you can say because I've got the penalty from it and the knock-on effect from it. So I had to start from the back of the grid snattered in. I have a collision in the first lap, which I don't think is anybody's fault. Second race, blah blah blah. So would I change it of 100% because of the outcome?
Yeah, sure.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But if I look at it as a rider, as somebody, I believe that I wasn't the rider that made the mistake to be in that position.
Yeah.
If you look at the camera, you look at everything that's went on, you look at my social media, whenever people that hated you last year are actually saying nice things to you, you actually think, okay, I didn't do so much wrong there.
Well, and we've talked about this on the podcast, that move there, different people, I've heard lots of, even like professional people speaking about it, lots of varied opinions. Social media, if social media was something to go by, 95% of my news feed was all in support of you and was like disgusted at the decision. Now, we've spoke about this on this show.
You see,
for
if
me,
you were like a neutral
yeah,
watching that, and it's hard for me to say I'll act as a neutral when Andrew's my brother.
sure.
Studied it loads of times. there's a gap. Andy's going for it. It's going to be close. The Ducati was struggling so bad to get the power down out of turn 1.
Yeah.
So if you're struggling for grip, if you give it more grip, you're going to slide. More power, you're going to slide. So they had a limit. He hears Andrew coming up the inside, which is true, as you would hear. You know when there's another bike coming. At that point, Josh's rear wheel slides. If you watch it back, when you slide out, your bike corrects. You correct to the inside. At this point, as Andrew's gone by, Josh is now more to the right of his bike than he was because his rear has let go and gained traction. If that didn't happen, Andrew's move was clean. Andrew didn't cause that to happen.
I think what some people don't say about it,
Right,
is
like we're talking about camera angles. Did you touch him?
yeah, and I admitted that I touched
No,
him.
we're just asking.
But-
you know what I mean?
But I touched him, but I touched him with my left foot when
Which
I'm
isn't-
past him. You know?
As his body's
left-
moving
bear-
to the right.
Yeah,
about to
so
say,
it's not. So Josh has this moment at the time I'm coming past, and then when he like offloads you in the rear, offloads of his bike is like, you know, and that's
So
that's
for
my
people
view.
listening, you were 3/4 past him before you made contact.
My bloody front wheel was past him anyway.
No, that's it. No.
Watch it, watch it back.
That's the thing.
And
Because
look at that.
the media only gives one angle. There's only 2 people that knew what happened, and we've got one of them sitting in the
Yeah.
room. And you tapped him with your foot, and your foot is 3/4 behind the rest of the motorcycle. Is that not fair to say?
I've watched it plenty, like a lot of times, and try to like come up. And when we were talking about it on this show, I was kind of going to the angle of whoever's overtaken, it's their responsibility to make it a clean pass.
Sure.
And the way you've just described it, you can see that Josh has a slide, and as obviously the bike corrects itself, it would be going that way anyway. For me, Josh's opinion after it was that up until the point that you touched him, he didn't know you were there, and if you were going to follow that, then that's obviously why the decision got made. But there is absolutely a fair argument
It's a
to be made.
50-50, I think. I
And-
don't think it's a punishment. That's
It's a
nothing
word-
against Stuart Higgs. I
Yeah,
get on
and
well
that's-
with Stuart.
And that's fair enough.
It's a word that gets used too often, in my opinion, but it was a racing incident.
Mhm.
Do you know, in my view, and that's Josh did nothing wrong. Do you know, 110%, he did nothing wrong. He came off on the worst side. Me,
Do you reckon? I think, bless you, absolutely bless you. It's part of the snowball effect,
yeah,
isn't it?
200%,
It really is, and I think you're a victim of that. I totally agree. That was a racing incident. I'm in 100% agreement with that. But it's the snowball effect that is, quite frankly, fucking up your social side of it. Not your riding. Your
Yeah.
unbelievably hot property, the pair of you. It's just that social one.
I think if it was a standalone event, and if it was any other rider that had done it to any other rider, that wouldn't have been punished.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
But
think the
it is
easiest
fact-
way of looking at it is Taz and Jason here last year,
and that was
and he gets
3
a long
seconds.
lap, the equivalent of a long lap penalty.
Aye.
I get a load of penalty points, and I have to I
Disqualified
get disqualified, and I have to start from the back of the grid.
And I think that is from you.
No consistency from the judicial team.
No consistency, but I think it is from past experience. And
But
if you were in the role of being race director in that scenario, and you've got one particular rider that seems to be in these like sort of racing incidents more regular than any of the other riders, from their point of view, they've got to do something to try and. If they just kept happening, and then eventually, if somebody like breaks a leg and it keeps going,
But
they've
why don't they?
They've got to have
sometime
it's-
if it happens, you say that they have got to do something, but they always do something. So why about if it happens sometime, don't do anything? That would actually be a different approach. They always do something. They always punish them. So you're
I
saying
think
Hey,
we'll
John,
not,
hey,
we'll
John,
we'll
you're
not,
talking
we'll
about
not
just-
get into the politics side of
Yeah,
BSB because we might get into trouble for that. So.
Yeah, fair enough.
Oh no, which
And
is,
I
which is
respect,
fair enough, isn't
and
it?
I respect Stuart Higgs as a person, and the championship that he runs is fantastic. And it's also the hand that feeds us,
You
so
see-
we'll not bite it off. But,
Which is fair enough, but the one thing-
I don't disagree with Stuart. I think me and Stuart have a professional friendship. It's the judicial team, I think, has just been inconsistent, but I think that's fair to say that.
The thing is, the one thing they can never ever take off you is you're fast as fuck, young'un. So you know what I mean? They take that all to the side. You do your job well.
Is
you know,
there an opportunity?
that's the truth, isn't it?
Is there an opportunity? Do you have an opportunity to oppose their decision?
yeah, we do. But I've done. It's not the first time. This isn't my first rodeo, and from the past experience, for me, there was too much of a loss if it went wrong this time
Yeah, fair enough.
than
So you
the
made the
gain.
decision not
Yeah,
to, yeah.
is that the the loss outgained the way.
Yeah, sure. Now going on to Snetterton, obviously had to start from the back of the grid and disaster off the first in the first race.
Aye.
I haven't seen the camera angle from above, but from on board, it looks like Alex Olsen's ran wide, you're up the inside, and you're kind of both going on for the same bit of the track. Unfortunately, you got tangled, and your bike's like cartwheeling down the track. After
What did you pick up off the floor? That's what I want to know.
after
$5,000 dash, mate.
yeah, after such a strong start, obviously coming into this season, and
Put it straight into his suitcase.
like you were like impeccable at the first round in the race, the race that you won, and at the time, if you hadn't been disqualified, like leading the championship and whatever, so real obviously disappointment for yourself and having to start the next race from the back. Next incident is obviously the Vickers one, which you've just said that you disagree, but talk us through it from the angle that I've seen it. It looks to me like it's a fantastic move
It
around
was
the
a
outside.
fantastic move.
You're ahead of them at the time, but I feel like to open up the chicane, you've came back across to the right to open it up, and if you're in Vickers' point of view, he was kind of left nowhere to go, and he collected. For me, I think in the Sunday's race, you showed that you can pull that pass cleanly and very well. You passed loads of people there, but the difference was you weren't coming back across. You were braking and then going straight to the corner.
That's because I can't do anything wrong anymore, so I have to give them a wide berth.
But you've shown.
Honestly, I'll explain the Ryan one the same way. I like Ryan. I've spent some time with him in Spain in the off season as well, and for me, it's the same thing with the Josh. Would you do it again? No, because you wouldn't deal with the consequence like DNF the race.
Exactly.
But in my view of it, is that I come around the outside, and it's not just that I'm ahead, I'm right ahead.
Mm-hmm.
It's now my piece of track, and I control, not in a cocky way or arrogant, but then I control that. He knows that I'm going to brake. I brake. I've saw the two onboards. I don't know if you have saw the two onboards. I brake, he brakes. Whereas whenever you get past, you think, okay, I need to find the
Slot
rhythm.
in,
Slot in. There was no slot. There was no piece for that jigsaw to go into, and then that's when we come together. But don't get me wrong. Should I have expected the unexpected, say, and gave him more room? Yes, maybe.
If a good example would be, if you say past somebody going down Starford Straight at Donington, and if you just get ahead, you wouldn't then, even though the track's yours because you've got the racing line, knowing that someone's just to the back left of you, you wouldn't then go to the white line and like push them out.
Yeah,
so
but that's two different corners.
Type of corner.
You're going right to left. You're not going right.
To try to
know what I mean?
using the same principle though, if somebody's just in your offside, you've got to give them, knowing that you've passed them and then that they're there, you've got to give them room.
To give a different view on it, like, and we are both friendly with Ryan. We spent like a week or more than a week training together in Spain, and his dad and all, lovely family, his mum and dad. So I hope there's no like lasting issue.
Yeah.
But I actually went under Andrew in Coram one lap in the race as he was doing his wide line. I went underneath, and I'm like basically ahead, but I'm going. We're going into a left-hander, the most important corner on the track, because you're climbing the hill up the whole start straight. Mm-hmm. He is going to want to open the left-hander up, so I slowed off. I rolled out of the pass. In this case, it was me going by him because I'm thinking he's probably going to come right over. So if I was Ryan and I'd been passed,
you should have anticipated that.
You have to anticipate. It's not scary. You have to anticipate. He is going to want to open up this corner, and that's just where I feel he didn't anticipate. You could say Andrew didn't anticipate that he wouldn't anticipate, but who's to blame? Mm-hmm. Probably bloody 50-50. Do you know what I mean? But look, it's been and gone, and there's no point talking about penalty points forever. It's probably Andy's probably sick of hearing it, isn't he?
Yeah, and just talking about, obviously you will have had a real hard time recently on social media and stuff. A lot of people that people who have like YouTube channels and stuff, they purposely don't look at any social media or things because it doesn't matter who you are and doesn't matter how thick skin you have. When you're reading people's opinions and stuff, it does hurt. How are you dealing with the sort of attacks that you're getting on social media?
Honestly, you learn to deal with it. It's we're professionals, and that's and it's probably in a way we're lucky that it's a smaller sport because if you were a footballer or whatever, it'd be a hell of a lot worse, and that way. But I just I don't delete my accounts, but I just delete the apps. I keep Instagram. somebody sent me another message. It was like, I hope you die at Silverstone. I was like, fuck, you're a wanker. But and that is a type of shit. It's hard to swallow.
for God's sake, man.
That's what I'm saying. Just to give context to this, you will be getting
and that's what people don't
Have
realise.
you ever had a death threat?
No.
I have. I must be faster than you.
you have a message requests on Instagram, and generally I don't look at them.
No.
But sometimes you're like,
When you don't answer me
it's
messages,
I wish you
It's
had
like-
told me that.
it's sometimes like you're like, I have to see it. Gets better of not wanting to see. You don't want to see it, but you're like, I have to see what these pricks are saying. And I went on to it and I saw it and I was like, I never respond to anybody. But after the Josh one, whenever people were being quite nice to me, I didn't want Josh to get it bad either. Like, people be nasty to him, because it's nice to be nice. And
Way aye.
and no matter what way, if you're a fan of Glenn and you don't like me, be nice to Glenn and just
Ignore
if you got now nice to say,
Yeah.
say now at all. But
Yeah.
the world doesn't. That's not the world.
I
we're in
kind of
now,
go
is
by
it?
the
It's
one
like
is a one for all and all for one.
Musketeers.
It's even
well,
like
It was our
uh,
primary school motto, do you know, and that's
like our rivals as well on track. You know, like I actually don't hate, and I know some of the riders find it hard to speak to rivals. Like I say hello to every single person I race against. I could go for a
they
beer,
don't say hello back.
but they don't say hello back. And you know, again, it's just
Different
Just
coping
be nice,
mechanisms.
like,
Is
you know
it?
what I
It's,
mean?
it,
It's probably like yous, where yous are from. You know, yous are like friendly people.
no,
Northern
we just
Ireland.
slap each other.
Northern Ireland's a really friendly country.
You say
And
hello to
everybody,
everyone.
you know, like,
what's a crack?
like say, in the,
Hi, Glenn.
in the village that you're in, you know, like that we both live in the same village, and you know, you'd always say hello if you're walking around. You say hello, do you know, like it's kind
Aye.
of the same thing here, except you actually know the person. You're like hello, and they're like,
I'll tell you a funny story. I was just thinking of Hector Barber there, just like the way we're saying like we're normal and we're dead on. The bike's been wheeled out of the garage after maybe a pit stop in FP1, and Hector's rolling down the pit lane, and like he's rolling down. I walk out and give him the thumbs up. You know what I mean? And then I come across him on track, and I was enjoying my session and seeing him, and I knew he was looking to get in behind someone, so I waved at him and was like, right, come with me. We spent a few laps together, and then the last lap he went to take me around, and I ran out of fuel, but you know, like it's actually nicer having that
I remember
little
you,
bit of friendship.
Well, aye.
you did that. You went to do that to me when I first stepped up to Superbikes, and obviously it's new and stuff. And I remember, I think you were the only person that actually came past and turned around,
I
tapped your seat
remember. I do remember.
at Brands. And but yeah, I like that. And I think a lot of people watching this as well, it'll just see Racin with the helmets on and stuff. And it's funny, like you're probably the least, like you would never match your personality and like the way you're very like softly spoken and just like polite, and you would never match your
You're a laughing assassin, aren't you?
up and
So
up the
it's
track.
brilliant.
But it's yeah, like I said at the beginning there, you know, it's you're doing it overall. You're doing a fantastic job. And well, just to finish this like sort of topic on the whole penalty points, all the penalty points that you've got, and like the you know, the things that you've been through recently. In all honesty, are you thinking to yourself that do you feel like you need to change anything about your riding, or do you feel like you know, the BSB people have made poor decisions and you're going to carry on doing what you do?
go ahead.
I honestly don't want you to change. No, not as in like the thing is, like I'm a road racer and I know like how dangerous the sport is. And thing is, from sitting here having a conversation with you, you need to keep that aggression. You know what I mean? You can sugarcoat it and everything like that, but rubbing's racing. If you don't we've said that hundreds of times on this show, but like you're making them moves cleaner after the Vickers incident.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's a bit like
That was
just that slight, you know, just turn down the tick over just a little bit, but do not lose that hunger. And I don't think you will.
Yeah.
I don't think you will. And you're the
If it
you're the
hasn't
most
changed
the
by now,
pair
it's
of you,
never going to bloody change.
that's it. No, but it's the most entertaining. The fact that your brothers, you're out there on similar bikes, and the thing is, how on earth you can? My next question is: are you willing?
Let go on. Finish.
Oh,
that
sorry.
first one.
Honestly, what do I have to do from the, you know, like the past two rounds is I do learn from it, and that's absolute 100% honest answer. You like the one with Ryan, we'll have different views on it, but you know, I went out in race 3. I think I passed Cal Ride, maybe passed you there, passed a few people, and doing the same thing, and instead of maybe giving them an inch, I was giving them 3 foot. But it's the type of thing that I need to get back to being, finding that middle groove maybe. If instead of going from one extreme to the other, I need to find that. It's even like today, I've been not as strong maybe as what I have been, but whenever you have a lot of negativity from people on social media, from like every time you answer your phone, oh, what about it, and not in a bad way. There's people that genuinely care about you and people that just wanted the ring. The people I answer to are the people I care about, and if I didn't answer to you, I didn't want to talk to you. So and that's not in an arrogant way, but it's draining. But for me, it's just about regrouping and coming back stronger. I showed at Donington that I'm as fast as anybody, and Glenn's showing how good the bike is. And for me, just get back into where we should be. And here, if we can have 3 solid races, and it won't be long until I'm back to where I should be. I know that maybe this weekend they'll be a little bit more difficult than what I think, but I'll turn it around. I always do, and I never doubt that want and motivation that I have to succeed in racing. So I think.
Good answer. I think that everyone shares that opinion.
Of course they do.
They want the hunger, they want the excitement, and you can see, you're an exciting rider to watch. Whether a last lap with Andy Irwin in, everyone's going to want to watch it. But it's just about like you're saying, like rather than giving an inch, maybe giving 2 or 3, and just being a little bit more aware.
Yeah.
And
when you get a pit board saying Irwin behind you, I think it's something bad if it says Irwin and Irwin, but if it's if it's Andy, they should play the Jaws music from the pit board.
I tell you what would make this sport a bit more interesting if they give them like a chain and a bat like Road Rash. You know what I mean? That would be the only thing that would spice up this championship at the moment. Pick your weapons, sir.
Now it's been very, very sort of Andy driven the last sort of 20 minutes or so. I just want to ask about, obviously this year you were supposed to be going to the Isle of Man TT, making your debut at the TT, like the most famous road race in the world, and obviously with the COVID shite and stuff, that's all been put to bed. Are you still getting prepared for 2021 going to the island?
Yeah, still preparing for it, as in mentally prepared to take on the course and to continue the learning. The learning is paused as I always intended to pause it at this period. If I'd done it, I would be pausing it and then resetting in the winter time when I've time to think about it without taking away from the BSB. But I also I think everyone that was involved in making that happen has to realise that I'm in a different position now as well, and
it's just doubled.
So I can't double because there wasn't anything. Really, no, it's look, I didn't go to the TT for financial reasons, and that is the God's honest truth. If you see if you knew the ins and outs of it, you would know that, and that will surprise a lot of people. There is no start money for me to go to Isle of Man TT. Paul Phillips will give you the same answer if you ask him. Dom looks shocked. I don't go to road racing for money. I believe if you go racing for money, you're going for the wrong reasons and you'll get hurt. But at the same time, the career's going a little bit different. Do I want to do it? Every bit as much. But I need to see maybe this side of things can go further now.
Well, you've answered my own question now. I was about to say, if the TT was tomorrow, would you be going with the British in mind?
Oh yeah, I'd still go.
You'd still go.
Yeah,
but would you push the same way that you would push if you were winning British Superbike Championship? And
I would never.
Co-host.
Yeah, the thing is, I would never push. I have
no.
to ride in road racing, and I will never ever change that, regardless of the course. I don't push in road racing.
Excellent diplomatic answer.
Very good. No, all right, so I know we're back on the Glenn side of it, but really quick fire question: are you going to go to the TT and do roads?
Honestly, never say never.
Okay,
but not in my immediate plans.
Yeah, right, back to you. How do you feel about
that? Graham has showed an interest, so I'm
motocross. There you go.
Yeah, I'm used to hearing these things. I know he would probably like to do it in 2021, but right. Look, it's weird. Like, you want your friends that do road racing that have achieved enough to leave the sport behind. So I don't want my brothers to come into it, but then I'm in it as well. It's a real, Dom, it's crazy what it does to your mind. There's a lot of the good, the bad, everything goes through your head, but that makes road racing. But Andrew, if he came to Northwest, for example, would he be strong? Yes. Would he, by his maybe in his first year, but by his second, third year, he would be absolutely doing everything that I'm doing. He could be, it would make my job a lot harder. Does do I want to see him there? Would it be exciting? Yeah, but do I just dread like a red flag and looking behind and going, oh shit, it's my brother or something. And that's that.
That's the truth of it,
if
isn't
they're
it?
not there, they're not. That scenario would never happen.
On that sort of topic, obviously,
Fair, yeah.
there's been a few Northwests where you've done excellent in the Northwest the last few years. From your point of view, Andy, when you're watching your brother at doing the Northwest, do you feel any different to say watching Glenn in Superbikes?
Yeah, I think that's part of the reason why I don't want to do it at the minute, is because I feel that I don't know if you experience it with your dad, but it's like it's shocking. The whole week is like Glenn. I say to him now, but I would never speak to him about it. Like during the Northwest week, TT week, I'm always there. Like TT, I was supposed to go this year. I can't help him with the TT, but I can help make him food or something. You know, I don't have a clue what way the track goes. I can be maybe that person that I know as a rider what people like to say or whatever. But at the Northwest, I do his pit board. But at the end of the week on the Saturday night, as the final Superbike race finishes, it's always like, your brother's back. Do you know, like, that sounds really negative, but you don't know how that week is going to plan out. And
That's part of it.
Yeah, it's part of it, but it's not the part that I want to be a part of.
Yeah,
There we are.
What
And
he's
that's a very
saying-
honest answer. That is such an honest answer.
You know what he's saying is a bit, believe it or not, as much as I love the Northwest, I love the racing, I find it hard to sleep until I get there and do one lap of practice and then it sort of all goes away. But my favourite bit is crossing the line in the last race, and if that's a win, then that's a bonus.
Mm-hmm.
That's a God's honest truth.
Road racing it's like an extreme sport. It's extreme danger, but it's extreme excitement, and the people that do it have an extreme love for it. And it's one of those where
It's
I
fucking
think,
mental.
but
It is,
do you know
isn't
what-
it? It's
Glenn, but do you know what the thing is? People who sit at home and say they might be into darts, they would think going and doing a track day where you're doing like 180 mile an hour, you would just think that is like lunacy. The people that do the track days maybe look at people at racing and think that's crazy. People who race short circuits look at road racing, and then road racing look at the TT. It's one of those, and whatever level you get to, it's for nobody else to judge whether you should or shouldn't be doing it or whatever. But it's you can tell like you love it, and it's very honest. It's to speak very honestly about your feelings about it, and like sort of from a sibling's point of view.
I think it's good that we have two kind of different views.
Yeah.
Doing that kind of.
Yeah.
We're two very different people.
Now-
And Andy's a
it-
big part of my success at Northwest as well. Like you said, Andrew, obviously girlfriend, family, team, as in father and that. But then Andrew, Nicky Coates, Charlie King, who you guys know as well. Nicky Coates raced, and Andrew. That's like my group of mates that come to the Northwest the last few years. And as he said, there's pit board, and there's making a bit of food, there's going for a run in the morning with Andy, and all part of the psych, all part of the event. So I don't want to lose that, because I feel that's a big part of me achieving what I achieved that week. So if he decides he's going to compete against me, then I'm going to lose one or two of my team.
Fantastic. Now, before we shoot off, we've got a PlayStation game. We've got a leaderboard, and so do either of you play the PlayStation?
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty. Like, if you want to know what are we doing on the Monday after a race week,
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty and a pizza,
Really?
a pizza hangover, not alcohol, but huge pizza on the Sunday night. Wake up on Monday morning, I'm never eating pizza again, and don't leave the sofa all day.
No, I go get some Ben and Jerry's, sit there, eat ice cream, and the 3-for-1, and from the cooperative.
And we're off. It's Sector 4 of the TT course from Doran's Bend. Glenn, have you been going over to that island to go around in hire cars and stuff?
Yeah, did quite a lot of laps. Went round with Connor, Milky, Mikey Evans.
You want to be asking inappropriate questions. What kind of porn are you into?
Um,
Let's talk porn, you dirty, sided,
to
seeded
make it
psycho.
easier, there's nothing that I'm not into.
Shut up, man.
Shut
up, man.
I never thought I'd be riding around the Isle of Man thinking of what port I'm into.
I tell you what.
Bloody hell, I hope Laura's working when this podcast is on.
Oh no, we got what you're not into. There you go. So have you do you dress up in that?
Yeah.
Really? What's the best thing you've dressed up as?
Dominic Herbertson.
What, you trying to scare her off? I'm not in the mood tonight, Eddie. Just get off us.
Trying to scare myself.
Oh,
I tell you what, mate. I don't know if you play PlayStation, but you.
this is terrible. This is what these professional riders do, man.
Nah, I'm an Xbox man. I find the controller so hard to use.
So, are you FIFA or PES?
Oh, FIFA, mate.
Who's your favourite rider then? Like, who do you hang out with? Favourite rider? Because that's Dave O. Johnson's arse. And I think there's not a single person that doesn't like Dave O. Johnson. Do you like Dave O. Johnson?
Davo's a legend. Good
Thank God for
proper
that.
good
I thought
crack.
we were going down the road
Who
here.
are your best pals in road racing?
Huge respect with Hickey for what he does.
No.
Alistair Seeley, good.
We're
good
talking
friends.
no. We're talking about on the rip, on the drink, good crack.
Who would I?
Who would you pick for your stag do?
What, on the rev limiter?
From road racing?
Aye,
Glenn, you've absolutely smashed that 133.
you've
That's-
just totally annihilated that.
Michael Rutter was the fastest at 138. So
Look,
he absolutely annihilated that.
Yeah, Andrew hasn't even looked at him. He's just picked up the remote.
I know. He'd say he won't even look at. He won't make eye
I love
contact.
it. I love it. Yeah,
I'm like some of them riders in Superbike. It's just done a good job.
See, the biggest thing is me and Chris go away from these interviews and we always think, oh, we should have asked that, we should have asked
I
this.
don't know
Right?
who would I want to go on the piss with.
Anyway,
I'm
okay,
not
we
a
asked
huge
that-
drinker anymore, which is a real difficult one. I'm kind of like, I would say Davy Todd, my teammate. Davy's a good lad, good crack. Obviously I'm settled down, he's not. So like, I just watch him, try to do. I presume he'll go out and try to pull or whatever. Just, me and Laura could go out and sort of like wing women, wing team him
Wing
as such.
team,
Yeah,
that's
wing
it.
team him.
Good.
So, okay, we've asked this question before, haven't we? So if you could pick 3 people, like past, present, or... What was it?
Why start this race?
Yeah, you're just cracking on, so we're just having the crack, yes.
So, same sector. It's going from Doran. Do you know the TT course very
I
well?
don't have a bally. I don't play this game.
Have you ever shit yourself over the age of 10?
No.
Hey, have you saw me race every time?
What was your first girlfriend's name? Your first love, your I mean your first...
Well, a bit of a stinker.
There are your first... Whoop, get on.
Dave or something, wasn't it?
Dave.
This is why I won't do the TT.
I don't blame you. It makes me cringe. Yeah, this is a question I was meaning to ask during the interview. Like, would you be willing to knock each other off? Wait, that's stupid, that isn't it? Because if it happens, it happens, isn't it?
Right,
but
but
it's that-
guess
do-
I
do
am
ride-
willing to
ride-
knock no one off. And touch wood, it probably happened this weekend. I've said this. I have never took anyone out in my career.
Do you ride differently
touch
with
wood.
each other
Yeah,
compared to
grab
other-
the table. There you go, son. There you
Yeah,
go.
I ride different with Glenn.
Yeah, just a little bit more respect.
That's what I
Yeah.
mean. It's that
Yeah.
kind of thing. You must. It's psychologically going in, going, as you see me, when normally it's.
Yeah,
this is happening,
we
sweetheart.
we respect each other a bit more. If it came down to the last race to win the championship, I'm sure you'd see the fairest last lap, numerous passes.
I've crashed 3 times.
But
in 3
we're not going
corners.
to take each other out.
Like I think Donington race 2.
Yeah.
That was
That was
last
that.
corner. Was
It was
tight,
mint.
like-
It was
Yeah.
mint.
But also,
Yeah, respect.
Glenn let off the brake. I let off the brake. It was works both ways.
Have you,
and,
have you ever fell out over a race?
No.
I'm sure we will.
You can see why he gets all the points, can't you?
Fuck off.
Oh.
I did 139.
I know, yeah, in qualifying, Andy did the
Not
39,
that the
didn't
call
he?
up. Oh, here they are. You see the competitive
Well, I think
family.
we've got a mid pack.
Right.
there as
If
well
you
today.
weren't,
Tell me about
if you
Michael
weren't
Rotter.
racing, what sport would you be? If they said, look, you're never racing a bike again, what sport would you go for?
Football.
Football.
What about
Chris,
you,
he's
Andy?
played with me. I'm nowhere near as good
Steady
as him.
on, hold on. It's a friendly show. This. I don't want to know if you two have played with each other. Jesus, wet man.
Another sport.
What the,
Honestly, I'm useless at anything that hasn't got an engine. That's like.
Do you have a trade? Do you have a
Yeah,
trade?
yeah.
Oh, do you know what I would
Yeah,
rather
yeah.
be? Tennis. I actually play a lot of tennis.
look like a tennis
I love it. I genuinely love
as
it.
in training or just for a sort of
Me and
hobby?
my cousin play. He's a left-hander. I'm a right-hander. He's probably a little bit better than me, but I'm a bit more determined. And it turns out it's always a 5-setter. We pay for an hour and we're there for 3.
Did you ever play squash?
Yeah,
I've never
that
played
is
it.
a hell of a game.
that's a brutal game.
Yeah, it
Me
is,
and
yeah.
Nicky Coates used to play it quite a lot.
Yeah, it's like you go into it's almost like 2 gladiators going into an arena and you just absolutely killing each
You
other.
sweat
But the best
like hell.
the best thing about squash is if you play with somebody that's about the same. Because if you play with someone that you're miles better than, it's shit.
Yeah.
And if you're playing with somebody and you're getting toused, it's shit. But if you're about the same, you can like be killing each other for a point, and then it'll just go on forever.
I love squash.
Yeah,
I'm
it is.
playing years.
And
but I love it.
it's a mind game as well because you've got to be so intelligent to like outfox the other
Play a little
person.
drop shot and all.
That's it. Yeah, man.
I've
Yeah.
never played it ever.
Have you ever played squash?
No.
Oh, we should
That's
go
it.
for a game.
That's what you're doing after your
There
pizza
you are.
hangover on Monday morning.
Just
Bit of squash.
But a double podium this weekend, back game of squash, pizza.
Chris,
everyone's
there's
happy.
3 races. With a triple podium.
Oh, there we are.
And then with both of you on the podium.
I'm
but
only
yeah, go
joking,
for
mate.
it.
I'm only joking.
We're trying to do a bit of work with for charity at the moment. Andrew Lund, who did this trailer, what's it called? Revolution Leisure. There you are. So he's donated this shark lid that we need you lads to sign later on. Or not right now, son, but we'll get your photo with it, and then we're going to auction it off at the end of the year. But I tell you what, I came up with an idea on the way down with me madness. What I think we should do is a charity boxing match. A road racer versus a short circuit racer.
Would you still have a charity boxing match with you?
That would be
I couldn't punch him.
No, I'd
Eh?
never punch him. Nah. I could have a charity boxing match with
Dom.
another rider. Like I would want to wear headgear,
Would you?
headgear and gum shield. Yeah, I'd have a boxing match. Yeah.
Would you do Dom?
Would you steady
Will
on?
I do him?
See your foot, yeah. Hold on, this is getting a bit out of hand. This right there, you go. Jesus, right.
Do you want to watch? I would.
Look
I
at me
would.
thinking about the pound notes there. How much you gonna pay?
I would punch him. I don't know if I'd do it.
No. Cheers, mate. That feels.
No, but I still wouldn't
that's
want to
great
hurt
hear.
you. Like you know, that's why I want you to wear headgear.
No charity boxer. I just think who wouldn't pay for that?
You know what?
You know what I mean? If you could pick,
I've thought about it before. These white collar events. I think it would be amazing PR.
wouldn't it?
There'd be no better fight than like Alistair Seeley versus Lee Johnson or something. You know, like proper good matchup.
That'd be mint. That wouldn't it? I think this should happen. I think if any of our listeners are
I
here
would
now,
do it,
let's
yeah.
get some names of. Would you do
Sure,
it?
200%.
Because you know these football games that because Gary Dunlop does an awesome job putting these charity games.
Yeah.
That's how you played footy and that. But I think imagine if you had a name full of hats, a hat full of names, and you got to pick. I think who wouldn't pay as motorbike fans pay to go see that? It'd be the most entertaining night.
We'll get this sorted for the
ever.
off
Honestly,
season.
it'd be awesome.
It's
if
the
you had
type
a
of thing
bill
you
or
would
something.
do, yeah.
If we put half the money in the
Brand's
charity,
after party.
imagine it. No, imagine it if you got it all in, locked in that gum shit. Right, let's have a portion. No, in my luck, I'd pull Phil Crow.
Before we finish,
I'd fight Phil Crow.
obviously, like road
you wouldn't.
racing.
I would. It wouldn't last long, but I tell you what, I'd like to say I'd be the man who had a go at him. Wouldn't be very long, but I'd be the man with a coma.
Obviously, like pure road racing in Northern Ireland and even short circuit racing, it's a much bigger sport than it is in, like, say, where I live in Newcastle. When you're back home, obviously, I presume like the village and stuff that you live in, you'll be well known as, you know, the bike racing, especially with how well you're doing this year. But like, for example, do you know if you used to go into like Belfast and you're just out and about and like, say, go into like shops and pubs and stuff, do you get recognised much?
I'd always check the
Glenn
car.
would?
Yeah.
I'd
With the Northwest
I
and
think
stuff.
the road racing side of things for sure helps. Like even we went to like the best thing we ever done the other day for Andrew's birthday was an adult play park. Basically, it's an outdoor assault course based on water.
I've seen that on
Inflatable.
Instagram.
It is amazing, and yeah, like you get recognised there, and look, you do get it, but it's nice. And I always say, see when someone's sitting looking over at you, I love it when they come over and say hello, and it takes the awkwardness away. You know, they're looking, and you think, does he hit me? Does he not like me? Why is he always looking that way? Whereas just when they come over and say hello, so you know, if you are listening in, you do say it's like we're normal people. Look, it's nice to be recognised. It is
My
nice.
favourite thing is that Glenn's always been recognised. We're at Donington, and somebody says, "Oh, there's Andrew Irwin's brother."
yeah.
Brilliant.
He's still going on about it.
It's the only time it's happened, but I'll never ever forget it because I've always been on there. There's Glenn's wee brother, Graham's wee brother, Ross's wee brother.
That's
Hey,
brilliant.
there's Andrew
I
Irwin's
think
brother.
in the past it was like I think like Andy is as established as anyone in BSB now. Regular front runner, has been even on an older bike last year. You know, so he's in my eyes he's one of the established BSB front runners, one of the hardest men to beat on track.
And obviously aspirations for you both for the championship, but you're both doing very well, so you both be going for the championship. Who do you both see as your 2 or 3 biggest rivals?
Focus on myself and take it race by race.
Fair enough. Do you have same sort of thing?
I think now I blew the championship in absolute honest opinion. You know, I'm 60 points behind with 12 races. If I won every single race, I'd only be equal to Glenn if he came second in that. And you know, to win the next 12 races is practically impossible. To win 1 out of the next 12 would be bloody good.
I'll give you a 5 if you do it though. I'm feeling flush, youngin. I'll give you a 5 if you win all 12 races from now on.
So no, it's just I want to kind of not revive what I have because I haven't lost speed. I just want to get the consistency back and not prove anyone wrong. Just do it for myself and show that I can be there in the next 12 races.
Fantastic. Have you got any other questions? Or good to call it a day?
What are your plans for the weekend?
What do you mean?
Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean? You're at the BSB Stock 1000 trying to lead the championship, son?
He's
What's the
on the
plan?
pipe.
He's
on the pipe.
Yeah,
going
today
well.
went pretty well actually.
Yeah.
Obviously, by the time this podcast goes out, it'll be after the weekend, so people will know how the things. But so far, so good. It's very tight. There's it'll be the same in Superbikes. Mind, just on the topic of Superbikes, see Gino Ray fastest today on the Suzuki. Very sort of, you wouldn't expect.
Is
it.
He's probably still
working
jet
well around
lagged from
here.
Le Mans as well. He just did 24 hours.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
Who won? Hold on, who won that?
Le Mans,
Honda.
TSR.
Honda, yeah.
yeah.
Hondas are
Gino
taking
Ray-
over, people. There you
Gino's
are.
a phenomenal rider. Seen him fighting, maybe winning World Supersport races before.
Yeah,
I
with
met-
Sam
I
Lewis,
remember
didn't
watching
he?
him at Nürburgring, fighting really, really hard. So Gino's top quality rider. Suzuki works great here. I've already tipped it to be a big threat to us this weekend with Kyle Ride, but perhaps Gino's really thrown his name into the hat.
Kyle's flying as well. I was
Yeah,
watching practice.
doing a
He
great
looks-
job. That's why, you ask, name your competitors. I'm going to
That's the
have
thing
to
about this
name probably
championship.
18 riders.
Yeah.
I said it in my pre-race notes. There's no podium battle. The battle is from 1st to 9th at the minute.
Yeah.
So that is
That
the
is
truth.
class
And
about
it's
this
so,
championship.
It's so
It is awesome.
It is so unpredictable, and it's a little bit like MotoGP at the moment, where literally anyone can win.
It's
but-
MotoGP is amazing.
Yeah,
It is, isn't it?
Oh.
It is absolutely amazing. But I can't get it.
Here, we better get going 'cause I have to watch some Netflix. My missus going to be lying there waiting on me.
Fantastic. Well,
Watching
yeah.
Netflix.
All right, that's what when she finds out you want to
Yeah,
do
so-
Chrissy, there'll be hell on, I'm telling you.
well, lads, thank you very
Thank you
much
so
for joining
much,
us,
lads.
and best of luck for this weekend. I really hope that you both do the business, and we'll catch up with you sometime.
Cheers,
soon.
same to you.
Thanks
Thank you very much.
love.
See you in a bit, lads.
Travellers.
Cheers.
Thank you.
So a great interview with the Irwins. Roll 2 after
I was
some
about to
nugget.
say, let's.
some nugget.
I love this. You know what I mean? We're trying to be we were thinking, how do we put a 20-minute conversation that flowed absolutely brilliantly with no crap? The thing is, we've learned very early on that we essentially don't speak to each other till we do this. And we've just wasted let's be blunt. I've wasted half an hour of our lives by not hitting the play button on the YouTube. So here we go again. So
Take 2.
yeah. So
And
where were we? We were
Cracking interview with the Irwin brothers.
Yes, that's
And,
where we were.
We've just finished at Silverstone this weekend, so we did the podcast on the Friday night after the free practice sessions, but then we're back home and we're doing a little outro, so we could talk about the weekend, and also you've got a little bit of crack as well from this weekend.
I was about to say, because obviously I think we just rambled off into the oblivion. So no, I've got a bit of crack about the classics, but I tell you what, right? I think to keep things a bit more flowing, I've promised a few people, mainly the Sinclair family, that I would give them a mention, but we'll do it on the next one. Because obviously we've got to mention that we've got a fantastic new sponsor, as you can tell, with all this going on around us. But
Yeah, so
let's,
if
we
you
leave, what?
I was going to say, if you're watching the YouTube, you'll see we've got a bit of branding in the studio, and with the new microphone muffs and our new advert at the beginning of the podcast.
Brilliant. So let's obviously we're going to say it at the end, but thank you very much, Colchester Kawasaki, for coming on board and supporting the cause. You know, we're not a bunch of terrorists. That sounds like terrorists, doesn't it? They
No.
are, but we're the cause, young.
All branded up with your Kawasaki top on.
You know what
there
my
as well.
favourite thing about this, mate? Right? It's a gift from you. I'm over the moon with it. But you know what? It's always the extra thing. It's always the extra mile that you go to that makes it really special. You left 20 quid in it. So I'm over the moon with that, mate.
I wondered why you were laughing before.
I'm like, there is nothing better than waking up with trouser money. So the fact that you've given me essentially a 60 quid Kawasaki top, as well as a 20 quid tip, mate, you're so generous.
Happy days.
And before you ask, no, you're not getting it back. There you go. That's the end of that.
Fantastic.
So,
by the way, have you ever been down to Colchester Kawasaki?
I haven't, but no, looking forward to going though. It'll be.
So do you know MSS that I was supposed to be riding for this year? MSS Performance are actually based inside Colchester Kawasaki. So
Oh, right.
big Colchester Kawasaki dealership. They have actually got a few other brands when you first go in, like scooters and stuff, and Prelier and a few other bits and pieces.
Obviously, check out their social media.
but
Give them a quick plug there.
Also a massive screen, and they've got a full-on cafe upstairs. So you can like go for a ride out if you're local in the area and go for a coffee or whatever. They do this £20 breakfast, right? You've never seen anything like it.
Well, now I can
And
afford these things, Chrissy.
Yeah,
so I can have.
If you complete it, if you get completed in 30 minutes, you get your money back. But it's ridiculous. It's like a tin of beans, 5 bits of toast, 10 sausages,
I tell you
5
what.
rations of bacon, like 6 eggs. Something like that. It's huge.
You know when you have like a a calling in life and you just don't know what the aim is. I
You
think
you've
I've just
found
found it. They are. I think I've been training for years for this moment.
Also, they've got a barber's.
I'm watering at the mouth here. I'm like, oh.
They've got a barber's inside the thing, so you can go and get your hair cut. And I think they've also got like a classic vintage shop as well.
No wonder they've won this award for MCN. Like, hold on, who is this? One of your sponsors ringing you?
It is.
Oh God, hold on, just no. Yeah, I want to keep you in tyres, mate. Best not wind them up. There we go. So yeah, let's talk straight about the weekend. Yeah, so let's talk about the Irwins. Obviously, fantastic interview. It was a bit of a shock for me. No, shock's the wrong word. It was a pleasant surprise because I've met Glenn. We both like Glenn. You know, Glenn is such an approachable character, and you know he's always there to help. He's always got a smile on his face, and that's why he's, you know, quite frankly, a fan's favourite.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know what to expect from his brother. Not meeting his brother, but we've all, quite frankly, the word is shit that he's been handed to. You know, and yes, he's made mistakes, but if you want to go and win races, you know, you've got to be putting yourself in those situations. But I was kind of expecting a very defensive Andrew Irwin. Like a very oh no, I've done nothing wrong. He was very open, just very, you know, the facts, and you know, this is how I feel about it. He's not scared to stand up for his own opinion, but in the same breath, he wasn't arrogant or cocky, or you know, it was just right. This is how it is.
I think it was a good opportunity for him to actually talk through the things rather than just like a quick you post on social media or a quick interview on Eurosport, or like actually open up the sort of the dialect on what exactly happened, what his thinking was and stuff. So I think, you know, people will have a better understanding from the podcast.
Totally. You know, that's the thing about this show. You know, we get to meet something. Well, I do. You know, you already know these lads, but like, you know, really like the lad, and you know, the whole Irwin family. You know, they're fantastic.
We'll get the charity boxing match sorted as well.
I tell you what, honestly, I'm 100. Who wouldn't go and pay for that? Mm-hmm. You know, if you like, especially if you've got a bunch of lads and they're just pull a name out the hat, it would be such a giggle, lad. Proper YouTube hit, youngin.
Speaking of the weekend, in the BSB class, it was Kyle Ride that took the title.
I am over the moon for Kyle. Mm-hmm. You know, he's like, not only was his maiden BSB win, he did it twice, didn't he?
Yeah, it's you know, unbelievable ride. Really looked after his tyre, and
a ride from Ride, eh?
Put the lap record in at the end of the race.
He got the lap record as well.
Yeah, smashed. He's
been a busy lad then.
And took two race wins and just rode phenomenal all weekend. Really good. It was also good to see Taron McKenzie get his second BSB race win and
full of emotion.
Back up the front. He had an engine failure in one race, but the other two really, you know, good rides. It was also good to see Jason O'Halloran, 3 podiums up there. Glenn consistent in 4th, but the important thing for Glenn was he went in leading the championship and he's extended his lead. He was beating Brooks, he was beating Idden, he was beating Bridewell.
It's not about race wins now. It is in a way, but he's thinking like you were saying prior. Obviously, on the first edit of this remake, you were rightly saying, in the fact that he's got to think about the championship points now. It's not just about going straight attacking.
It's been so unpredictable as well with the... I think there's been something like 8 different BSB race winners this year, and it's just wide open.
This year's wide open. When you think about like World Superbikes and you think about MotoGP, with no Marquez there, the COVID lockdown season, whatever the bloody hell you want to call it, it's been outstanding, really. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely outstanding. I tell you, you know, when he took I briefly mentioned about Mackenzie showing a hell of a lot of emotion, how much he meant to him. Like on World Superbikes, I know I'm jumping the subject and we'll go back, but like Scott Redden binned it, didn't he?
He did, aye.
Like the cameras went straight into the back of the paddock, and he was sobbing it. Like the poor lad. You think his work isn't like I'm not taking the piss. Mm-hmm. I'm not taking the piss at all. But you can just see the sheer raw emotion, and you just think his whole world just collapsed immediately there. And no wonder the lad was, you know, like he had a breakdown. He literally had a break, like in the garage. I mean, not on track.
They went into Aragon. Scott was actually leading the championship, and then Johnny was phenomenal last weekend, and then broke him in I think it was the first race. Scott crashed, and it was actually Rinaldi that took his race win on the other Ducati.
Yeah, that was a privateer one. That was brilliant. It was like watching the Tech Free lads on the KTM. It's so good to see them lads.
Johnny is such a machine. You know, he bangs in the seconds, and then wins, mate, and then he always seems to force his opposition into crashing, and then just consistently wins second, and he's opened up I think it was a 36-point championship lead now. But just going back to BSB, there was a huge crash.
Sorry. Before I interrupt you, did you see that interview he did with his MotoGP opportunity?
No. Ray.
Yeah, Jonathan Ray. Oh no, it's a brilliant watch. It really is. It's like he was talking about how he got the opportunity Honda, but pretty much Honda just turned around and said, "Look, son, whatever you do, don't crash it."
Oh yeah, when he stepped in for Casey Stoner when Casey Stoner was out,
but
and
then
I think he finished something like 6th and 7th in that ride. Bear in mind, he was not allowed to crash it.
I think what that is the worst thing you can say to a rider, isn't it? Period. Absolutely period. But anyway, yeah, sorry. That is definitely worth watching, that interview. But you were talking about the BSB, mate.
Yeah, so back to BSB, there was a massive crash in qualifying. Graham Irwin actually had a big crash, independent of the other big one, but he had a big high side, and then straight after.
Is he all right though?
I think so. He took a it was a high side, and he came down hard on his head.
I'm not worried. Carrickfergus, Northern Irish lads, man. They've been doing that for years. So it's that they're built for it, man.
Huge.
Hold on, I need a motocrosser. Mm-hmm. You know, I bet Sugar Tits, you know, his little sugar cube there, he's been knocked around a few posts. But, no, he's still good. Leading championships.
And it was Barbera who went down on the OMG, Rich Energy OMG bike. And
we're both smiling because last time we said this, I kept saying Barbara. You said Barbara. It's not Barbara. It's all I've got is Barbara now.
From the royal family.
The royal
Barbara. But anyway, took the front and went down. I think he put oil on the track, so he sat in the gravel, obviously annoyed at himself for crashing out. And then all of a sudden, you just see these other bikes coming nailing into the gravel. And when you're watching a still shot and you see bikes coming past at like 100 mile an hour, and there was, I think, Josh Owens, Storm Stacey, Taylor McKenzie, Lee Jackson's bike went cartwheeling, and Alex Olsen. Unfortunately, Alex Olsen, I think, got collected by a bike and seriously injured. Got airlifted off. He did ribs, vertebrae.
Is this Alex Olsen who's riding? He's like Hickman's teammate.
Yes, Smith's racing.
Right.
I think he had internal bleeding,
Jesus.
like real nasty crash. So sending our best from Jason Racing, sending our best wishes to Alex, and
yes, of course, yeah.
Hope he makes a good recovery. But yeah, and then the rest of the races, like we said, Kyle was superb, took the wins. Tara McKenzie and Ducati seemed to be a little bit off the boil. Sort of, you know, back sort of 6th, 7th, 8th sort of positions. Brooks got a good second place in the first race on Sunday, but overall it was definitely the Yamaha and the Suzuki's, the Suzuki and the Yamahas that seemed to do the business.
Are you a believer in like bikes matter to certain tracks?
Oh,
are you a believer in that?
Characteristics of bikes, 100%. Yeah, that's
right.
Like unquestionable. Yeah, like, but it's funny that speaking of World Superbikes, Aragon has always been a Ducati track, and obviously Rinaldi showed it was, but both Chaz and Redden seem to be struggling a little bit, and Johnny picked his game up. But yeah, obviously Silverstone National's such a small track.
What's a lap speed around there for people that don't know?
So it's like a 54 second lap.
Yeah.
Tiny lap, and the Josh Elliott won there on the Suzuki. The Yamahas dominated there last year and were back to the front this year. For some reason, the Ducatis just seem to struggle. I actually mentioned it on the last podcast, I think, but we actually had a special tyre because our normal tyres get big holes in because it's so hard on the right hand side of the tyre.
I saw that on Tom Ward's Superbike.
Yes.
That
so
strips out the thing.
In Superstock, we usually run a 255 tyre. So it's I think it's 200 wide and it's 55
mil tall.
Is it 55 mil or 55% of 200? I'm not sure how it works, but it's to do with the height of the tyre.
You're the maths genius, not me.
And we're now on 260 tyres, which lifts the diameter, so the wheels like further off the ground basically.
Did you have to adjust the suspension much for that, or
yes,
were you happy
a little
to
bit,
leave it?
A little bit of ride height. Yeah, I've obviously with sort of deciding things myself this year. I did a little bit of ringing round to our previous guests, Mick Shanley and a few others. So shout out to Mick for helping us with that one.
I was about to say, because you don't have a crew chief, do you? You are like, you're in with Piggy, and you've got Crowy, and you've got, you know, proper like band of brothers there. But obviously we'll talk about that soon, you know, with the stock race, which was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, sure. It was a the biggest sort of team effort for me this year in Superstock, and came away. I was so pleased with how my team pulled together. We'll get into it, but starting from the beginning of the weekend, qualified third on the grid. All the lap records got smashed this weekend in every single class. And in qualifying, I actually towed Danny Kent round to pole. He was pole, now was third. But the lap time, so the lap record was a 54.8. I think I did a 54.4 or 54.5, something like that. So when I seen that on my dash, I was like well under lap record. So I thought mint.
Because how often do the BSB go to Silverstone?
Once a year.
Once a year, and that's normally in the cold conditions, isn't it? So do you think there's something to do there?
But also, we've only done the national for the last few years. It used to be the international.
Right.
So yeah,
Right.
lap records are quite
fresh.
Yeah,
yes,
relatively. But I towed Danny round, and he actually matched the Superbike lap record on the Superstock bike.
Fair play, Danny.
But the Superbike lap records got annihilated this weekend. A few years ago, Leon Haslam won all 3 races doing like 54.1, 54.2 lap times.
So it's quite a Kawasaki track then.
We were doing 54.5, 54.6s, so just a few tenths off that. But the Superbikes this weekend, Kyle broke the lap record with a 54.3, which is like incredible time. But racing got underway. We had one race on the Saturday, one on the Sunday. Saturday's race got a good start. It was the Neve brothers that seemed to be sort of battling with, and it was Tom that ended up...
Everyone's favourite gingers.
Yeah.
There you go.
It was actually Tom that got the win in that one. I was right behind in second, and then there was a 5-second gap to Danny Kent back in third. But yeah, I didn't quite have an answer for Tom in that race. He just seemed to be pulling it away ever so slightly, and then I would catch him up, but I wouldn't be close enough to then make a safe pass on him. So took second place and went away and looked at my data, made a few adjustments to the bike, which I've then felt really helped the next day.
Yeah,
but first of all, went out in morning warm up.
And disaster stroke.
Talk about ups and downs of race, and went out morning warm up, bedded some brake pads in. Few more laps later, and the bike sort of locked up going into a corner. And I thought, that's weird, but the tyre was like absolutely shagged, so I thought it was maybe just lost grip. Then I went in the next corner and like didn't really brake that hard, and the thing locked up again. So sorted it out, went on the start-finish straight, and it just seemed to lose all power and started making a weird noise. So I pulled the clutch in, and the bike died. So pushed the bike back, obviously a few hours to the race, and straight away Phil, cool as a cucumber.
Phil Crow,
yeah,
performance here, yeah.
Cool as a cucumber, just checked it over and said, engine, it's definitely serious. Right, we're going to have to do an engine swap. And then he was like, okay, Piggy, you do this. One of my sponsors, Alan Towell, he threw himself in. Andrew Lund, obviously Piggy, and all the team just
the band of brothers
jumped in, and Phil was just so calm under pressure. Dropped the engine out, banged the other one in, and we haven't actually done that as a team yet with that group of people, but it was it was just such a good purposeful atmosphere, and absolutely smashed it. And we actually had time to stick the bike on the dyno as well, so just to give it a good check over, and got out to race. But to be honest, after all of that, just getting out to the grid felt like a race win, and
it would do after all that.
Yeah, and any result I got was a bonus, because I
Yes.
really shouldn't have. I didn't feel like I should have made the
that
grid.
was potentially a championship over.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, what I'm very proud of is your posing levels gone through the roof, because every photo on Facebook looks like you're trying to mechanically help out. Now, when's the last time you picked up a spanner, Chrissy? Because every photo you just stand in the background going, yes, just get the headshot in. This is the money shot. There you are. Everyone else has grabbed their arms off, and you're just pointing fingers, young, and you're like a dictator.
Beginning of that, Phil got his spanners, and straight on the engine he went, Chrissy, what you like on the spanners? And I was like, he was like, just take that off. So I was doing like crash bungs and things like that, just the simple stuff.
Hey, no way, you got to muck in, and you mucked in. That's the main thing.
We managed to get it swapped, dynoed, and out to race. So started fifth.
Fair play, mind. Fair play.
Really early on in the race, my foot slipped off the peg, and what it actually turned out to be an oil leak. So because we didn't have time to test the engine before racing it was we were missing like something really like simple. I think it was just a little washer or something. It was just something like dead small, but like some seal or whatever. But basically my foot started slipping off, and in the race I didn't have you've got to make a split decision, either pull into the pits.
You're thinking championship.
Give up that whole race, and which would have been huge in the championship chase, or just try and manage it. And to be honest, I was half expecting to see a black flag, no, the meatball flag. I was half expecting to get a meatball flag. And if not, I was
the IKEA flag.
I was obviously worried about oil going onto my tyre, and there's some corners at Silverstone where you're like 100.
Were you probably thinking about of course you would, your foot slipping off, and you're just going whoop, whoop.
And that was early on in the race, and I had another 20 laps to do.
Did you feel like there was oil getting on the tyre at all, or
no?
That's good. Well, obviously it's good. You're still here, son. That's the main thing.
Yeah. So still got my head down. I took the lead of the race and battling out at the front. And it was actually Tim Neve that came past and sort of set the pace. And I almost caught him on the last lap. He backed off his pace and made a few mistakes, and I just got on the back of him, but. He took the victory. I was at less than a tenth behind him.
I know this is totally weird to say. I want you to win the championship. You're my mate, you're my marrow, you're whatever. But I am absolutely over the moon for Tim Neve. I'm absolutely over the moon because when we interview these people, you just think, what? Like everyone has said, they're salt of the earth, and they generally are. Aye. They're tight. They're farmers. That's bred into them. They're generally tight.
No,
but they are outstanding people.
Like I said, I was just to get out and race. I was chuffed to bits.
Yes.
And then. So that second felt like better than any race win I've had for ages, and to see Tim win as well. I was teammates with Tim, and I know how much effort he puts in and stuff, and such a a great lad. So I genuinely was buzzing to see him win as well. So yeah, it was a great podium. Boasty called it as well. Wanted me and the Neve twins.
Aye.
So I was in a Neve sandwich on the podium there, but. Yeah, great race.
It'll be a hell of a party down at their house, won't it? It'll be a hell of a party after that. Everyone on the podium, and obviously the pair of them getting wins. But hey, lads, if you are listening, I know they're listening to the show. Well done, absolutely well done. But don't make a habit of it. Chrissy's going to win, so there you go.
I was going to mention in the race. Obviously, I only sort of thought about this afterwards, but I made a mistake and ran wide, and Tom Neve and Billy McConnell came past on the Wellington straight, the one at the back. And so as Billy passed us on the straight, he was like, he was pointing down to the left, and for some weird reason at the time, I thought he was, because Tom was in front of him, I thought he was saying go up the inside of us. So like,
so you're thinking you're getting advice from
yeah, I thought he was, and I was thinking, why is he telling us to like pass him on the left? But I did anyway, and dived up the inside of him, and actually ended up Tom ran wide on that corner, and I snuck up the inside of him. So I did them both. But then after the race, I obviously realised that it was because oil was pissing out of my bike. He was actually pointing at us I think he was waving quite a lot as well to try and get us black flagged, because obviously it was dangerous.
That must have been only missed though, because if it wasn't affecting your rear grip, for
like, my boot was absolutely covered, and I think when the lads came in as well, that their bikes were covered, the visors.
Yeah, I'm a classic racer, Chrissy. I'm very used to oil dripping out the things, you know what I mean? But it's when it starts infecting the rear. But like you say, it doesn't matter, because if you see oil, where it's oil, look at the crash we were talking about beforehand. It's a very dangerous thing. Very dangerous thing.
Obviously, when I was riding, I wasn't aware of how bad it was, or if it was affecting people behind or whatever. And I know it's the worst thing in the world when you're following someone, you can see oil coming out, because you don't know what the grip's like, and you're just waiting to tuck the front and whatever. So I felt horrendous for the people behind us, but at the end of the day, my goal this year is to win the championship, and if I'd pulled in that race, it would have been such a blow to my championship chase. Yeah, that it would have been a disaster. So
and no one came off. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
no one came off, and that's the main thing. Obviously, very very lucky, very very lucky.
And speaking of, when I was saying about the rear tire spinning, when I was looking at my data on Saturday night, when I was looking for sort of time to gain. The last corner to Silverstone's a real fast right-hander going onto the straight, and when I was looking at the difference between my front and my rear wheel when my tyre was going off, there was up to like 25 mile an hour difference between what my front wheel was doing and what my rear was doing. So like my front was like 130, and my rear wheel was like 155.
Wow,
so
that's like proper spinning
so much. But it's kind of a little bit like Thruxton Silverstone. It's a bit of a tyre war, and that's what Kyle Ryde did so well. Looked after his tyres and then smashed it at the end of the race. But
very mature ride, like you say. Very mature ride.
Just a quick thing on the other classes as well. Stock 600 was amazing, unbelievable. Rhys Irwin ended up getting the race win, but there was just so massive crashes, loads of overtaking, loads of action, and just a fantastic race. You'll never ever guess who won both Supersport races.
It's got to be Skinner, hasn't it? It's got to be Skinner. He's just dominating the class. So here's a question, right? If it was, it's Rory, isn't it?
Yeah.
Rory Skinner. If you were Rory Skinner, what's his next move? Now, I look at that and think, look at that domination. He's got to be in Worlds. You hope and you pray for it that you get in the Worlds.
For me, I was really disappointed a few years ago because he won the British Talent Cup.
Yes.
And I was really hoping that Dorna would have got behind him and
we were speaking
him.
about that last year.
Do you know when Tom Booth Amos was in Moto3? I was really hoping that the Rory was going to get an opportunity like that, backed by Dorna and given a chance, because at the end of the day, we need British riders coming through. We've got loads in World Superbikes, but we need riders going through the MotoGP.
The premium level.
And Rory is the best talent that we had coming through.
Yes.
And it's a real shame, really, but he's self-funded, got back into Supersport last year, kind of doing his own thing, got into a mega team this year with
Colin
Appleyard.
Appleyard, yeah.
And to be honest, I would love to see him in World Supersport next year.
Definitely.
I think
even if he skipped it, like you say, and went straight into the higher class.
He's such a class act. He's matching all of Jack Kennedy's times and race times from last year. He's dominating with ease, and it's difficult to see how good he is because he's not really getting pushed at the moment. He's in his comfort zone. He's won 6 out of 6. And when I look at World Supersport, say Danny Webb, who's getting top 10s, for me, Rory Skinner is next level. If Danny Webb was in British Supersport, I don't think he would be challenging Rory Skinner for wins. And he's getting top 10s. I honestly think Rory Skinner can go World Supersport in the right team and challenge the likes of Locatelli at the front. I rate him that highly.
Brilliant.
And I really hope he does get an opportunity like that, because if not, obviously he could go up to British Superbikes, and I'm sure he would be brilliant on a Superbike. But I would really like to see him have a chance on the world scene. Yeah.
And I'm over the moon to see our favourite road racer, Lee Johnson. What an outstanding performance he's banging in. But I tell you what, we're recording this on a Monday night. It's Scarborough this weekend, and he's going to be back there. This lad's contending at the front, so I'm going to have to get a chomp on. Dean Harrison, it's been announced in the news now that he's on the RC Express 600, and he's also on their Super Twin. So it's going to be some racing this weekend down at the Gold Cup. And for me, very much got my head switched on in the idea of going, I'm going to learn a lot. And I genuinely can't wait. There is going to be some serious portions dished out. Even if I can get in the tour with these lads, I'm going to learn.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to do to elevate myself. And the only way you do that is by, like you just said, Rory needs pushed. And, it's not like I'm saying I'm not getting pushed. Like I was at Mallory this weekend with Thundersport, and them lads are so fast. They're fantastically well-run club. And it's like, I've definitely learned a lot from this weekend and where I want to go with my racing, and that is about learning to go faster. And which sounds a bit naive. It's not like I've never not known that, but now it's a bit like, look, I need to be in the deep end with no armbands. I need to be going out and pushing.
We on your ZX10 at the weekend.
Yeah, so it was the Belgrave ZX10. I've got a massive thanks to the Hafe group there. They provided me some tyres this weekend, so thank you, Michael, who's be listening to this. Massive thank you. But no, we had a few problems, but that's always good to get things ironed out for next year. Trying to get some big decisions to make, but we can, we'll nail it. But I'm just over the moon to be back on the big girls. You know what I'm like with my big girls, Chrissy. I love myself a big girl.
What are you riding at Scarborough at the weekend?
So I'm back on the Cowton 600 and Super Twin. So looking forward to that. Really looking forward to that. Now we're on the older twin, but it's a fantastic bit of bike, really is. But there's going to be some serious chomp on, because I know Rob Hodgson, he's on the other bike. Dean Harrison's on his Super Twin. Jamie Coward. I tell you what, Dean Harrison, his biggest chaser this year is being Jamie Coward. At the Southern 100, everyone took that for granted. He was a midge's dick off beating Dean on that Super Sport, the most competitive bike. And Super Twins, I really hope, I like Dean. Even though he doesn't return our phone calls and comes on the show, even though he did promise. Damn you, Dean, damn you. But no, I like Dean. I really like Dean. But I really hope Jamie just gives him a proper push, because Dean has not been pushed around Oliver's Mount in years. That's the truth. In years, Dean has not been pushed, and I think Jamie Coward, this is from the bottom of my heart, he can get pushed on. And like, if I can get a sniff at it, that's the truth. I'm going to go for it.
And last time you were at Scarborough, obviously you had that problem with your engine and you had to put the stock motor in. Will you have the full Supersport bike this weekend?
Hopefully. You know, the Counting team move heaven and earth to get me on a bike, and I absolutely love them for that. And, you know, it's like, from what Fran's gone through, you know, with losing James, you know, his hunger just to keep his memory alive is beyond belief, mate. It really is. And when you've got a team like that there,
mm-hmm.
it spurs you on, and you know we all miss James, and it's just like it's mint, and I can't wait for this weekend, mate. I really can't wait for this weekend.
Same crack as last time. Friday practice, Saturday and Sunday,
which is a better system. It's a bit more BSB, really. You know, get out there, qualify on the Friday, but it's it spreads it out a bit more. But I'm looking forward to it. It's like it's a bit of a track that I thought. I don't really. It's a bit stop start fire stop start. It really does rely on qualifying. And last time I was down there, I did a good job at qualifying, which is it's something that I need to learn on. Obviously, we've had chats about it, but this time it's going to be even harder. If you're not in the two front rows, it's hard because like James Hind, he's coming again. He was out on the Gixxer 600 and his own. Gixxer 600, Gixxer 1000 in the big bike class, and he was out on his own 600. James Hind's banging in some serious track time, and he's been doing that for a long time, to be fair. And we'll definitely have to get him on the show. We'll definitely have to get him on the show.
I seen him getting interviewed. He seems like a canny little lad.
I tell you what, right? He's like an old man trapped in a young man's body, isn't he?
I thought that
you're like, whoa. He's
very mature.
He is, isn't he? And I think that reflects in his riding, and it would be a great show. It would be a great show to have him on. It's just trying to get that moment and like getting him on. And he said he'll come on, and I'm looking forward to getting James on. He's definitely a star of the future, without a doubt.
Now, speaking of getting people on the show and the moment of fame, we've got
royalty. We've got royalty in the studio.
Would you like to introduce?
No. I think I'm a little bit nervous. This is a big moment for me, Chrissy. I think it needs this delivery.
Well, I tell you what,
this needs your delivery. It needs this smoothness.
Do you know how we've had a few things where we're getting some good traction on the show. Lots of people have started listening and watching, and it started with like people coming up and like I love your show and stuff. And then Piggy started getting recognised when he was out in like the pubs in Ireland. Are you Piggy from Chasin the Racing and everything? The next one. We've had a few reports that Sugar Tits has been getting measured.
Lord Sugar Tits
is being getting recognised at these motocross. Obviously, father of Sugar Cube, little Hayden Stat.
He's not actually getting visually recognised. He's obviously only getting people going up to him going, "Are you Hayden Stat's father?" And then they put the message together. So I think it's about time.
Show your face to the world, Sugar Tits.
Come on, get yourself sat down. No, I tell you, no. You're sitting.
No.
No. I think.
Bugging me as well.
Oh, I was about to say, our lovely sponsor boards that we've got here have been put together by our fantastic Owen Sugar Tits. He's the jack of all trades and master of none, aren't you, son?
No.
Now I've got to get in the mic.
At least I can drink, Dom.
At least that's it. But I was actually kind of hoping you're going to sit over there. You know, some of your good crack might have rubbed off onto him. You know.
Give over.
So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It's the world famous Sugar Tits.
It's the one and only Sugar Tits. So the motocross dad himself. Now you had a problem with we seem to give a lot of cheap shots to the motocross dad, and you're not happy about it because you are the number one motocross dad. But father of young Hayden Stat, we'll get Sugar Cube on the podcast at some point. But future motocross superstar. Well, he's a superstar in the making, and out all the time, practicing and stuff. Have you been out racing this weekend?
We were down at Sherwood Forest at the weekend.
Straighten up, son. Come on, you're on a show.
Dominic.
That's it.
Because the British Championship in motocross has been cancelled this year, hasn't it?
That's all been knocked on the head. Even the Western Beach race has been cancelled.
Oh, is it because you were going to go down and do that?
We were looking forward to doing that for the first time this year. Other than that, we went down to Sherwood at the weekend, just a club meeting.
Aye.
Won the first one. Had some strong racing off a lad with him in the second and the third, which Hayden ended up being second in both of them.
Aye.
Coming away with second overall. But other than that, the riding was good, bike was good. So
Fantastic. Well,
This is your opportunity. Plug away for the sponsors. The lad gets a couple of bikes from a couple of mates, NG Spark Plugs, who sponsor you. Come on,
well, that's it.
work
If we're going down that route, like,
because in your sport, the obviously the sponsorships in quite in short measures for even in the top levels. In
even
motocross.
top level, like you tend to be paying for like your sponsorship. You know what I mean? We've been lucky enough to get help off Manchester Motorcycles.
Well, because you run the Huskies in.
Yeah.
Huskies are massive in motocross.
Yeah. Obviously, Manchester Motorcycles gives them 2 bikes. Hand them back end of season. All parts are all at cost. Paul Wheatley NGK with spark plugs, suppressor caps, FTS suspension. He's been doing a lot trackside with lately.
Just to give it like an idea of so like how old's Hayden?
Hayden's 10.
10, and
Aye.
so like I go out on I've got a 450 KX 450, and I'm not brilliant at motocross, but I can ride a bike.
I can ride the bike.
I'm doing these. You start to get bedded in, and you start clearing the tabletops and that, and thinking you're going all right, and then this little whippersnapper comes jumping almost over you, and Jesus, he's not scared, like, is he?
No, wait. Up to about 2 years ago, I still had a bike and used to go out with him now and again. And then I decided, nah, he's not come past me, and then holding that one over to see he's faster, like, so I sold my bike.
Like any good dad, and you put your heart and soul into it. Every weekend you're away.
Oh man, like we've got more food in the camper van than what we have in the house.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's it.
To be fair though, it's like every racing family. It's a full family affair. Like your mum, your dad. I was about to say, we've kind of skipped a very important note here. No, but we're going to briefly talk about this man's pedigree. He's come from stock, young'un. He's come from stock. Your father he was a TT man, wasn't he?
He raced the Isle of Man passenger sidecar 93 and 94.
Fruit Loop then. Good lad.
Top driver in his day, and
he worked the back of the outfit fairly well. Like he'd done the Isle of Man with a guy called Colin Rispin. He also rid with Ian Bell, the set a lap record round Oliver's Mount.
Jesus.
The first time out together, I think it was. I've got sweat on here, man.
it's funny hearing your advice.
I'm over the moon that you're sweating here like that. I'm like that when we drink wine. I'm like that guy, and I can't keep up.
Just to give an idea. Just to give an idea as well of
what do you do with your nipples, Chrissy?
When we're jumping in the a couple of times I've went for a run. I think I'll go down and buy sugar tits. I can hear some laughing in the back garden, so I'll go in and jump in, and they'll have the inflatable hot tub, and there'll be all about 3 bottles of wine in each. There's some stories going.
I don't think some of these stories can go on. To be fair, like
what happens in Stanley stays on Facebook. I mean, stays with us. Hold on, let's go.
So on that note, we'll
not the seeded sex jacuzzi parties. We'll just leave that for another time.
We'll head down to. I'm going to come down and watch you at Oliver's Mount on the weekend.
George,
so
disappointed.
Really looking forward to that. And if anyone listening, if they want to get tickets, I think they're still available on Duke Marketing. So check that out. They did put another
did
release.
Sell them out, didn't they? At one point.
Yeah, but then I think they did another release. So
brilliant.
Check that out. Saturday and Sunday, loads of racing. It was brilliant last time. Great atmosphere. And hopefully we'll get another podcast when we're down there. But for now, massive thank you to Colchester Kawasaki for coming on board and being a partner in the podcast. And really appreciate that support. And obviously, massive thank you to our patrons. And
and hold on. And thank you to Sugar Tits for taking the time to actually reveal your beauty. We need some eye candy on the show. Chrissy's been holding the banner and flying the flag for good-looking lads, but now you've been outshun by Sugar Tits.
Repping the 130 clothing as well. I like it.
No, he stole that off his mother. His dear mother is kindly gone, oh, go on, I'll help Dominic out. And that's the best thing about your family. Your whole family, your wife, your mum, your dad, everyone's involved in Hayden, and it's absolutely great to see. And more importantly, your mother is taking the shine to us, but she's got a heartbeat like the rest, and my charm has worked its way, and she's handed over some cold hard cash, Chrissy. Cold hard cash.
Well, best of luck for when you're next out, and we'll catch up with you all soon. Thanks a lot, everyone, and we'll be back next week.
Take care.
Take care,
See you
everyone.
later.
Cheers.